Hello, hello. Good evening.
It's Thursday. It doesn't feel like Thursday. I haven't streamed in a on a Thursday in what feels like forever. So it's been a very weird day so far. Because I keep thinking it's like this is not when I usually stream. And I keep thinking it is Wednesday. And Wednesday would be a normal stream day, right? But because Monday this week was a day off because of the Easter holidays and everything. We're like, who am I? Where am I? Why am I? But it is finally time to play the last Flowers game that we're still missing. And by extension, also the first Flowers game that I hadn't read before. And also the first Flowers game where we're gonna actually collect all of the endings. Because for once I cannot immediately jump to the true ending or whatever because I haven't played through them before. So we're gonna actually look at the bad endings and the, I don't know, non-canon endings, I guess, for once. Which is gonna be a slight change from how we did it for all of the other games, but I don't really want to like go through this game like I was thinking up until we got to this game, I was like, do I want to go play through it before just so I will have everything unlocked? But on the other hand, no, let's make this an actual blind experience and I will know nothing. And I will actually be as surprised as everyone else is also. But I think that's mostly just because the menu bar is on the right and I'm almost completely covering it. It feels like this is not centered. But I think that might just be an optical illusion because of this bar here making me think it's further in. Like if the bar wasn't there, this would be in the center. But because of the bar here, they should have moved it over there. Also, I should maybe unmute the game so we actually have some sound. Ah. There we go. Classic. I have once again already turned up Su's voice acting a little bit because I assume we'll once again. Well, I did listen to it a little bit on the configuration menu, and I feel like once again we will not be able to hear it quite as clearly as every other character because I do not know what exactly they did to a vocal mix, but something about it just makes me absolutely unable to hear her because she's always like lower than everyone else, and she does have a very soft voice. I get that, but still, girl, please speak up. I would like to actually hear you. Yeah. Without much further ado, I will probably have to move myself at some point because I will most likely be in the way again, but we'll see how that goes. Let's get into it.
Thank you for the binary. And the hydrate time.
And the pasta check. I was like she had slipped away into a fairy tale world. Ooh.
Hi.
Good morning. I feel like I'm looking into another world as I watch from the window of the room. Oh, yeah, I need to move up a little. Tiny bit, so I'm not... I am once again covering the little affection meter that you can always tell is growing because there's a flower growing here, right here. And I skipped text. Flower growing right here. Isn't that fun? And no matter what kind of layout we're on, no matter what kind of overlay we've been on, every time without fail, I managed to cover it. So I know where our affection is going, and you guys don't. I hope you're all good. How are you? I feel like I'm looking into another world as I watch from the window of the room. The ground is white with snow, the sky ashen, the cracks in the distance a deep inky black. My eyes trace the scenery, but I have no sense of its reality, just a feeling of being in some fantasy land or amidst the pages of a children's story. Or rather, Ew, I haven't seen you in years. You're often nice. Like a scene from a movie I once watched with her. It was set in winter. There was a shot of a car driving people to stay with family at a vacation home. The camera tracked over the snowy landscape at an angle. My view through the window now reminds me of being in a movie. Movies are a favorite thing. Tracing a thing over the window, I think of her, and of the school where I spent a fleeting spring. I enrolled in that school as an escape. The academy... Oh my god, that was just music, okay. The academy with its high walls surrounded by forests had seemed like the perfect place to shut myself away, leaving everything I once knew behind. Away from my father, my mother, and the person I had loved. How are they choosing what's voiced and what isn't? Because girls, speak up. Since when can I not hear you? Okay, yeah, it's probably just this specific scene. But there at the place that was supposed to be my escape, I met my amitié, and she was just like my former love. Foolish as I was, I conflated the two. So at first I found my other amitié partner an unwanted distraction, as she drew the affections of the girl I yearned for. She was always there for me. First out in the woods in the pouring rain, and then when everyone else doubted me, she alone believed. To me, fearful as I was of trusting in anyone, that belief was a joyous shining light in the dark, and my feelings deepened like a shadow at dusk. Those dirty feelings that made their squalid nest inside my heart. And yet she accepted me. When I think of the night in the deserted library when we opened ourselves up to one another, my heart swells with emotion until it feels like it's about to be torn asunder. If I knew then that we would have to part, I would never have given myself away. Her hair's gotten really long. Stupidly, I left her with words that fell upon her like a curse. A lingering regret, I muttered to myself, before turning my eyes once again to the picturesque scene. Oh. Who the fuck is this? Then, hearing the signal of the bell, I stand up from my chair with a word of acknowledgement. I give the view one last lingering look. I whisper, sending up a prayer for her. Let her forget about me. Let her be happy. Well, too bad, girl. This is the last entry in the game, and you're actually irrelevant. Well, she's always been relevant, but you're actually a character that shows up again, so no. The person who has come to collect me must have heard my murmuring, but they don't break the silence. Grateful for the quiet, Mayuri Kosaka makes a sign of the cross, hoping against hope that her little prayer might be answered. They say that athletes and other competitors can concentrate so intently they tune out the whole world. The snow swirls mercilessly across my field of vision and the wind howls in my ears. Yet the only thing my senses are focused on is the cross-shaped grave before me. It's like everything else has been blocked by a thick curtain. Ah, we're starting here immediately. I read out the name carved into the stone incredibly slowly, so there can be no doubt about it. What is Yuzuriya Yatsushiro trying to tell me? I stared at the name carved into the white stone. She told me that the first key to what happened with Mayuri Kosaka was to be found in the last of the 7 mysteries, the Tulpa of Agape, and that the other key was this place. From the damage to the building, I've surmised that it was burned down. Is this old chapel the source of the Tulpa of Agape? Like the werewolf of the bell tower, which only appears around the chapel. You'd think by the 4th game I would have finally learned how to say chapel right every single time, but no. Never in my life will I learn that stupid word. No. This white gravestone, nestled up against the roots of a Japanese elder tree. I instinctively know that the key Yuzuriya pointed me towards isn't a chapel, but this grave marker in the shape of a cross. In the back of my mind, I see Sister Basquiat's kindly, willowy figure. I imagine that, like in a fantasy novel I once read, the real Sister Basquiat is dead, yet her spirit remains at the school, wandering the halls and teaching her students. That's absurd. If it were one of the detective novels I love, then... I mean, you've only read the last name. It's not like Sister Basquiat is the only one with that last name. She could have family. She stole the identity of the deceased Basquiat and faked her way into a teaching position at the school. That's possible. I focus my mind harder than I ever have before, quickly putting together various theories. The concentration is so intense that I neither see nor hear anything of the world around me. When I unconsciously brush my hand across the tip of my nose, I realize it's freezing, and finally remember that I'm standing outside in a snowstorm. And then, dropping my gaze, I notice words carved into the pedestal. Brushing away the snow covering them, I trace the letters with my eyes. Oh, what's it say? In the West, it's customary to engrave an inscription on the gravestone in memory of the deceased. I recall the famous epitaph left by William Shakespeare. Good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. Verse-like phrase makes my stomach squirm. Bending my frozen body down, I read the English words inscribed on the stone. That is a pretty epitaph. As I read the words and the meaning sinks in, a cold chill works its way up my spine and I stagger, instinctively wrapping my arms around myself. Speaking the words aloud sends a chill deep into my bones, calling up a vision of Mayuri from within me. My Michie who vanished without a trace, on earth as it is in heaven. My voice is hoarse like an old woman's. It doesn't sound like my own. I stare feebly at the white stone cross with its engraving. Of course, why didn't I realize it until now? Seeing the name Basquiat must have thrown me. With all my intense focus, I overlooked something important. With a trembling hand, I reach out toward the familiar surname, then brush away the snow covering the first name. As the snow-obscured letters are revealed, the gale howls louder than ever in my ears, and a piercing cold sinks beneath my skin to freeze my blood to ice. With the snow cleared, I whisper the name of the little flower. I want to see it too. Whose name? Xion? Okay. Name we have never heard before. I don't think we have. At least. Could be wrong.
悪魔と青く深い海の間でという英語の慣用句がある。後がない、切羽詰まった状況に使われる表現だそうだ。悪魔に追われ、背後には海が、という状況に陥ったら人は、悪魔に食べられたくない一心で、深い海へと身を投げてしまうのだという。どちらを選んでも救いはないという選択肢。きっと私の大好きなアミティエは選びようもない選択を幾度も迫られてきたのだろう。これから始まる物語は優しい悪魔のささやきと絶望の海へのいざない、救いのない二つの問いに迫られながらも希望を失うことのない少女のお話。
Okay. Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. Chapter 1. I have never heard that before in my life, but I'll take it. Like a changeable autumn day, the year is drawing to a close, Yuzuriya Yatsushido and Nidina Komikado having left the academy behind. Oh, they graduate. Yeah, true, they graduated, huh? The snow that began to fall on Noel has blanketed the ground in a soft, downy layer of white. After covering the dark earth, the snowfall paused, then started up again a few days later as though remembering it had been in the middle of something. As though it were fearful of letting the bare earth be exposed once again. A few things come to mind as I watch the flakes flutter down incessantly. Oh no, I do think it's actually a very real idiom. They can be poetic. First is a quote from William Shakespeare. A coward dies 1,000 times before his death, but the valiant taste of death but once. And the other is the moment when I heard the truth, a few days following Noel, that Yuzuriya Yatsushido and Nerina Komikado had quit the academy. Oh, they didn't. Oh, they actually eloped. Nice. Good for them. What connects both these thoughts is the concept of fear. The first, an aphorism observing that fear is incurable. The second, an event suggesting that fear cannot be vanquished. Different though they are, the conclusion they suggest is the same. The truth of the matter was conveyed to the new members of the Council of Nicaea. The fact that the two shining stars of the school left without any forewarning came as a deep emotional shock to everyone. The student body was covered in a sense of loss and a fear that something was starting to happen, as thick as the snow blanketing the world around them. But this quiet continued as the closing ceremony approached. And then, without much ado, we were into the winter break. It's so funny to me that the only game I've managed to at least somewhat play during the same time it is supposed to take place was like autumn, and even then it was more winter when we actually played it. Now that I'm playing winter, we literally just went to spring. So, yay! Storm building descended into silence, hawking quietly like a crotchety old woman. Dorms had always been filled with a cacophony of voices and noises, the hustle and bustle of daily life. But now that the closing ceremony is over and the winter break has arrived, the dorms are so quiet you think they're deserted. We don't have spring weather, we have April weather, which is rain, rain, sun, rain, 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 storm, rain, sun. And it's cold. It's very cold still. Most students return to their families during the winter vacation, but not all of them. That's why it's strange that the place now feels like some abandoned mansion. 5 minutes into the game and we're already thinking of The Shining of all movies. Okay. No, we have no snow. No snow. Only, ew, rain. I gaze out the window at the snowscape beyond, at the huge buildings and labyrinthine gardens all hemmed in by snow and silence. Maybe the season is to blame. When everyone went back home during the summer vacation, it wasn't so still. I imagine those twins from the movie, which the Sasakis are dressed up as, popping up at the end of a corridor.
Yatsushiro-senpai, Komikado-senpai.
The memory of Halloween brings their names to my lips. I've tried to blame the influence of movies or the season, but really, it's the absence of those creating this loneliness. It's like traces of them linger everywhere around the dorms. And within me, too. It's not like they've been completely erased from existence, but our memories of them will only make the holes they've left in our hearts harder to ignore. I know that better than anyone. A name almost escapes my lips. I force out a long sigh to calm myself, then suck in a deep breath of clean winter air. With the catlight being asked to get in hand, I hurry to my room.
恐竜と2ラウンド戦ったような顔をしてるぞ。
What now? I'm met with those words as soon as I step into my room, and the gaping pit of loneliness within me quickly shrinks. I respond with a smile.
遅くなってごめんなさい。これ意外と重くって。
I hoist up the kettle full of boiling water for her to see, and her feline smile creeps across her lips. Alright, we haven't even seen her sprite, but we already have her feline smile. Never change, flowers, never change.
だから私もついていこうかって言ったんだ。白羽は華奢だからな。ありがとう。
Okay, in direct contrast to Erika though, I think I'm gonna put you up a little more. As Erika informs me that she's packing plenty of strength in her arms, my tea partner comes rushing over to me and I pass the kettle to her.
ご苦労様。今、美味しい紅茶を入れるからね。
As I watch her going through her treasured stash of tea leaves, someone addresses me with a "Here's yours."
お昼、取っておいてくれていたのね。まだみんな手をつけていないわ。
Oh!
白羽さんを待っていたのよ。
Yay!
先に食べてくれていいのに。二階屋の会の会長様を待たないなんて不敬なことをしたら、会のメンバーに貼り付けにされて殺されちまうよ。
Laughing, I tell her not to be silly, and she turns a cat-like smile on me.
二階屋の会が秘密結社みたいな組織じゃなくてよかった。
She says. Right. It still doesn't feel real, but
二階屋の会の会長になったんだ。
to absolutely no one's surprise, she actually made it. The vote following my speech resulted in me being declared the new president of the Council of Nikaiya and Dika-san the vice president. A triple bunk bed, yeah. Yeah, actually, because they pair 3 people together in a group, so also 3 people share a room. They have horrendously high walls, though. The elections took place as the year was nearing its end. Immediately after came Noel and the shock of Yasushita-senpai and Komikata-senpai's departure. From then until the closing ceremony, I was rushed off my feet dealing with the transition to the new council structure. I wasn't given a chance for it to truly sink in that I was now president.
どうした会長？その呼び方は。白羽さんでいいでしょ？役職名で呼ぶのはよそよそしい感じがして嫌だわ。まあ確かに役職名で呼ぶのは一歩引かれてるような気がするもんな。なあ委員長、突っ込まないわよ。突っ込んでるじゃねえかよ。打てば響く。
Two different presidents. That's fun. Watching Nika-san retort as she carefully pours her tea, the final wisp of loneliness lingering within me clear away. Domes may be silent as the grave, but here in this room, it's as warm as spring.
そうだ、いちごさんたちはまだ来ていないの？そういや、あいつらも家に戻ってないんだったな。ご家族の都合がつかなかったから家に帰るのが面倒だって言っていたけど。
So, pretty much the entire cast is still in the school?
そう、私と一緒ね。
Sitting down in a chair, Takasaki-san chimes in as Nika-san pours tea into a cup.
私も似たようなもんだが、白羽も帰らなかったんだな。父は海外で戻ってこられないそうだし、祖父も旅行に出ているそうなの。なるほど。それじゃしょうがね。
She seems to have bought my explanation, but it's not true. During this winter break, I...
どうしたの？メガネが曇ってしまって。
Having put her face too close to the steaming hot tea as she poured it, Nika-san's glasses are now completely fogged up. I quickly reached for a cleaning cloth, but...
やっと本体を手に入れたぞ。
Oh! Nika-san takes Nika-san's glasses and gallantly wipes them with a handkerchief. Then she stares intently at the spectacles in her hands like there's some rare animal she's seeing up close for the first time.
拭いてくれたのはありがたいけれど、返してくれないかしら。それがないと何も見えないのよ。いや、よくよく考えてみると、学院に入る前まで思い返してみても、自分の周りにメガネをかけているやつって委員長しかいないって思ってさ。
I think you don't know a lot of people then, Erika. How many people in my life do I know who wear glasses aside from myself? Many. I'm not actually going to count all of them now.
そう。いいから早く返して。なあ白羽、 同じ処置仲間としてお前と私どっちがメガネ似合うと思う？
You're vying for it, aren't you? If the choice is between me and her, then there's no question.
それはエリカさんの方が名前呼びきやすいぞ。ま、お前ならそう言ってくれると思っていたよ。
I do. I cannot see without my glasses. I have minus 6 point something on both eyes. Plus I can never remember what that is called in English actually. Hold on. Astigmatism. So in total I have like minus 7 something on both eyes. So I don't see a lot at all without glasses. Rika-san fiddles with the glasses for a moment, then turns her wheelchair toward me and holds them out.
もう少しかがんでくれ。ちょいと立ち上がるってわけにはいかないからな。
I do as I'm told and bend my head down. Ooh! An intellectual beauty.
エリカさん、普通やぼったくなるものだと思っていたけど、想像以上に似合うなお前。そうかしら。
The prescription is so strong I can't see a thing, but I can tell she's staring at me and it makes me feel awkward.
スーさんが私のメガネをかけているの？ね
え。Anika can't even see it. That's so sad.
芸能界でもちょっと見ない美人だけれど、メガネをかけるとより清楚で大人な感じになるわね。
Someone on the team thought, yes, we should put Suo-san in glasses. For the fans who wanted to see her in the glasses, I am the fans who wanted to see her in glasses. They did it for me. A compliment from Takasaki-san is rare and I can feel my cheeks burning.
ちょっと早くメガネを。私にも見せて。5章だから。委員長がメガネをかけたら白羽がかけているのが見られないだろうが。
Irika laughs. Unable to bear the embarrassment any longer, I take off the glasses and hand them back to Rika-san.
そろそろ食べようぜ。腹が減った。
For a moment, Rika-san looks like she's about to disagree.
紅茶も行き渡ったし、それじゃあ始めましょうか。
She must have realized there'd be no point in arguing. Rika-san meekly sits down beside me and clasps her hands together in preparation to say grace. I'm following her lead when... Oh?
やーやー、待たせたね、君たち。やっぱりエリカちゃんたちもいるですよ。
The two other invitees to the tea party burst into the room with cheerful greetings. My dear friends, Ichigo Sasaki-san and Ringo Sasaki-san.
なんだ、やっぱりこっちにいたんだ。お茶会を開くって言うからエリカたちの部屋に誘いに行ったのに。何度も言うようだが名前呼びはやめろ。だって千鳥もりっちゃんだってエリカって呼んでるじゃん。まあそりゃそうなんだが。
One of them was my bookworm buddy and the other one I'm dating, so like...
スオちゃんだって呼んでますよ。白羽はお前たちと同じで許してないからな。スオちゃんが傷ついちゃうじゃん。人手なしですね。
Faced with this barrage, Erika-san scratches her head and glances my way.
しょうがないな。お前たちは許してやるよ。
She relents.
やった。このやりとりをこれから何十回となくするのを考えるとひたすらにめんどくさいだけだからな。スオちゃんも許すのですよね。
Another glance my way and I catch a faint flush across her cheeks.
白羽はダメだ。
お。
なんで？別にいいじゃん。気恥ずかしいんだよ。
Irika-san brushes it off with a quick never mind, but I heard a quiet response and can't help but smile. She lets out a breath to regain her composure, then scratches her head again.
まあ、なんだ。お茶会の話は聞いてないけどな。私らは白羽たちに昼飯を一緒にどうかって来たんだよ。それはハンバーガー。私としてはご一緒したかったですね。ごめんなさい。さすがに用意していないわ。まあ、残念だけど、私的にお昼はもう食べてきたからね。食後のおやつを持ってきたんだよ。その匂い、クッキー？正解です。調理室が空いてたから使わせてもらったのですよ。
She plunks down her basket and asks Rika-san for a cup of tea. It's reassuring to see that the two of them are the same as ever.
八代先輩とのことがあったのね。
Ringo-san and Yatsushita senpai dated briefly, and Ichigo-san.
そうちゃん、早く飲まないと冷めちゃうよ。
Soo-chan, we played the last game. You don't need to give us a recap.
ええ、そうね。
Hi, Sammy. Thank you for the resub.
She must have been heard, but it seems that the two of them got through it together, such as the bond between twins.
紅茶もだが、ハンバーガーも早く食べろよ。冷めた料理ほどまずいものはないからな。
So true, unless it's food that is supposed to be eaten cold.
そうね。
Doing as I'm told, I pick up my burger, and then hesitate. Come to think of it, I've never actually eaten a hamburger before. What? Ha!
めっちゃうまだな。
As lesbian isn't going, we just got started.
今日のハンバーガーはチキンなんだよ。
You missed Sue with glasses, which was a very cute CG.
鶏肉なの？これ。おお、共食いネタですね。神門先輩がいたらお腹を抱えているところだね。
Says the two people who are named after fruit. Hi Akira, thank you for the fan. I know. I'm not restarting. The air in the room seems to freeze the moment that Komikado-senpai's name leaves her lips, but the amused tone with which Irika-san replies thaws it.
食わず嫌いってのは大罪だぞ、千鳥。鶏肉のトップ3が入ってるんだ。うまいに決まってる。
Keeping an eye on how she's eating hers, I take a tentative bite of my own burger. I only get a mouthful of bread this time, but the freshly baked buns are savory and fragrant, and I quickly take another bite. How has this girl never eaten a hamburger before in her 16 years of life? What the fuck?
だろ？鶏と鴨と七面鳥を使ってるんだ。七面鳥はクリスマスに余ったやつだけどさ。
I nod. The well-seasoned crispy fried patty is the perfect blend of flavors and textures to keep you coming back for more. Sandwiched in the middle, the lettuce and onions help to soften the stronger flavors.
美味しそうですね。食べかけで悪いけれど、味見してみる？いただきますですよ。いいなあ、私的にも。それじゃあイチゴは私のを味見してみる？いいの、千鳥。それじゃあちょっともらうね。
Paganate is not ever. That's what this feels like. But the game is not even set that far back. Like, this is definitely modern times. As I watch the two of them delightedly biting into the burgers, I take a sip of my tea. It's delicious too. And the font is still cut off. Darjeeling and burgers go surprisingly well together.
気に入らないのは紅茶ってところだな。ハンバーガーにはコーヒーだろ。今、私の前で言ってはいけないことを口にしたわよ。
Ika-san chokes in reply, and Irika-san flashes her a wry smile. Takasaki-san is watching Ichigo-san chow down on the burger like a mother hen.
そういえば、聞いたことがなかったわ。
She suddenly says.
何をかしら。白羽さんが紅茶糖なのかコーヒー糖なのか、どっちが好きなの？
Tea.
Out of those two, actually tea.
そうね。
I'm about to respond that I can't possibly choose between them, but... Pressured by my immediate partner's silent gaze.
紅茶の方が好みかしら。
I pick tea.
そう、そうよね。やっぱりスオさんは分かっているわ。どこかの誰かさんに聞かせたいわ。悪かったよ。これも悪くない。ただ食い合わせのことを言って。なーに？なんでもない。飲み終わったから新しいのをついでくれ。
なんでもない。
いいわよ。
My Michi partner is in high spirits. Irika-san inclines her head in my direction. Takasaki-san nods, a serious look on her face. All I can give them in return is a vague smile.
お昼も食べ終わったみたいだし、そろそろ私たちが持ってきたおやつでお茶会始めようよ。そうね。それじゃあ。
Irika-san picks up the kettle to pour us all fresh cups, but I can tell as soon as she lifts it that it's lighter than expected.
お湯が足りないみたい。私が沸かしてくるわ。さっきはスオさんが言ってくれたのだもの。今度は私が。
Interrupter offered to tell her that it's not polite for the hostess to leave her own tea party.
すぐ戻ってくるから。その方がいい。遅れたら私が全部平らげちまうからな。
Forcing a smile, I tell her I'll be as quick as I can. Then I take the kettle and exit the room. The lively sound of their voices fades, to be replaced by a silence that trickles into my ears like ice water. I warm my arms around the still warm kettle. It's time to make a decision. Izuriya, Yatsushiro, Niri, and Komikado have left. The end of term ceremony has been and gone. We've entered the quiet of the winter break. Days have passed by, dreamlike, slipping through my fingers like sand. I have to put a stop to it. Sion. Okay, I did hear it correctly earlier. Turns out for some scenes that are voiced, they still haven't found a way to just put some subtitles in there, so that's gonna be fun. Can't fully commit to it until I voice my determination out loud. The words disappear into the corridor, silent as the grave. My mind is made up.
A final mystery.
No, we will have several mysteries in this game once again, actually.
Hello.
There must be a name for this feeling, I think to myself. In my exaltation to myself, I refocus on the school almanacs in front of me. Now that we're into the winter break, I'm finally able to focus on investigating Sion Basquiat. The collection of books and papers in Iznig is vast, but when I think that my investigations could lead me to Mayuri, I feel my heart swell with elation. First, I look into the surname Basquiat, searching through writings about the school for any information pertaining to faculty members. I dig out details of the current full-time teachers and lists of the instructors for each subject. First, I go through the managerial ranks, the principal, the vice principal, then the head of each department. Next, I move on to the full-time teachers, going through the ranks of names per subject, from the core subjects to ballet and Italian. I go quickly, but place a check beside each name to ensure I haven't missed any. However... Okay. So could it be Sister Basquiat's adoptive father I once heard about? Staring at the rows of books enshrined upon the shelves, I feel a flutter of excitement in my chest again. Instead of diving into the books at random, I first try to guess at the age of Sister Basquiat's father based on how old she herself looks. However, I don't find anything in the records for those years. I was trying to be efficient in my search, but perhaps I made a fatal miscalculation. I hang my head with a sigh. From outside, the scarlet sun casts its light into the room. The rays slanted in through the panes in thick bands, forming pillars of light that seem to grow out of the floor like trees. Tiny motes of dust dance within them, and the shadows beyond those scarlet bands seem cold and dark. It's then I finally realize how hungry I am. So I begin my days of holding myself up in Iznik to investigate the mysterious Sion Basquiat. Sion? I spent the second day exactly the same as the first. I'm not leaving anything to guesswork. I decide to be thorough and go through everything in order from oldest to newest. 1870. Girl, you're gonna be here for a long time. I take care of the fragile yellow documents so as not to damage them. The next time I surface from the dusty pages is when I hear my name being spoken almost directly into my ear. Ooh. I lift my eyes from the paper to see my Amichi partner standing there.
リッカさん、ずいぶん集中していたのね。夢から覚めたような目をしているわよ。
My temples are throbbing from intense concentration, like after listening to loud, discordant music.
どんな面白い本を読んでいるの？
The question probably brings me back to reality, blowing away the last wisps of dreamlike haze. She can't find out the truth of what I'm doing.
今までの学院の歴史を調べていたの。二階屋の会の会長になったのに。
She's so good at coming up with some
何も答えられなかったら。
a lie like this on the spot, though.
もしかしてここにある本を全部？冬休みの間にある程度は目を通しておこうかなって思っているの。
Ika-san looks over at the wall-to-wall bookshelf with trepidation, relieved that she's not showing any signs of suspicion, and look up at the clock. It's past 11. 3 whole hours have passed me by.
そうよね。確かに歴史を知ることは大切だわ。スオさん、お邪魔じゃなかったら私もご一緒していいかしら？私も二階屋の会の副会長になったわけだし、スオさんの言葉を聞いたらもっともだなって。
I hurriedly consider my options. Should I agree to Ika-san's request? But when I'm really looking at is the staff records, she'll inevitably notice and find it strange. Should I refuse? But if I turn her down without a real reason, she'll find that odd too.
スオさん？
Oh. Before I can tell her she's welcome to join me, Ichigo-san pops her head around to the open door.
ノックをした後返事を待たないといけないって礼法の授業で習ったでしょ？
I guess, maybe.
ダリア先生みたいなこと言わないでよ。りっちゃんにことづてに来たんだからさ。私へことづて？合唱部の子に頼まれたんだよ。こっちに来る用があるならりっちゃんを呼んできてくれって。ああ、冬休みの間の合唱部の練習についてのお話をまだしていなかったわね。
What's better than this? Oh, when they find out why one of them has just vanished a few months ago. That's hopefully going to be better than just them doing cute things. Feeling with a rage, she looks over at me and the book on the desk before me.
いちごさん、みんなには私抜きで進めてもらえるように言って。ダメだよ。部長のコミカド先輩がいないんだから、合唱部は実質りっちゃんが回しているようなものなんだからさ。
Maybe they will actually. Maybe they will hold hands.
他の先輩が。その先輩は家に帰ってないの？
Unable to argue with this, Nika-san resorts to looking at me like a kicked puppy, and then
行ってくるわ、スオさん。
she's dragged off by Ichigo-san, who marches out with a theatrical pip pip tally-o. Oh, which is why. When my ears pick up the sound of the door opening again, I assume it'll be my returning amitié partner. I quickly open up one of the school's almanacs atop my real target, the staff roster, as a decoy.
少しかくまってくれ。
Oh? Instead, it's my bookworm buddy who comes rolling into the room with the shrill squeaking of her bat, her feline smile firmly in place.
かくまってくれなんてどうしたの？
We have had them hold hands before. We were barely saved, though. Very lewd hand-holding, for sure.
今まで昼も取らずに千鳥のバレエ練習に付き合っていたんだ。地獄だよ。
Glancing up at the clock, I see it's almost 2.
もうこんな時間だったのね。
A favorite data type? Oh, that's a good question. Do I? Who did it, maybe? Shakes hands.
佐々木姉の言う通りだったな。こもりきりだって言ってたからな。
Belatedly admit that I forgot about lunch too, and Idika-san scratches her head, commenting that it sure is a pain to keep going back and forth from here to the main building.
羽が欲しいわ。生理用品みたいに。やめて、八代先輩じゃないんだから。そっち系のネタは先輩の1000倍特許だったものな。会長職と同じく受け継がれるべきものだ。
She adopts a cynical smile and lowers her voice to say, "Y'all would do a better job than me." Then she tosses me the paper bag sitting in her lap, which is scrambled to catch.
お前の分だよ。お茶はお前が入れてくれ。
I open it up to find a burrito inside. Ooh! The spicy scent draws out my latent hunger, and my stomach almost rumbles.
保温しておいた紅茶があるの。入れるわね。
Oh!
ブリトーのいいところはいろんな味があって飽きないところと手を汚さないで本が読めるところだな。
I think I'm eating them wrong if they're supposed to keep your hands clean. Chunky ground meat and nicely browned pieces of sausage are slathered in a rich Napolitana sauce containing just a pinch of spice. My appetite's usually small, but I'm able to eat the whole thing in one sitting. I guess I was hungrier than I thought. Hi, good evening.
もう一杯いかが？いや、残っているだけで十分。ここからだとトイレに行くのも一苦労だからな。学者の一番奥だものね。仲良しの女子を気取ってトイレへご一緒にってのもな。一緒に。
The stars in her eyes, Jesus. Oh my god.
やめろ、キラキラした目で見る。
Wait, hold on. Oh no, I cannot fully I can only replay the voice. Damn. I started a blunt rejection. It's one of those things I've always longed to do.
まあ、よかったよ。何が？八代先輩が去った後のお前の顔つきだよ。だいぶマシになった。そんなにひどい顔をしていたかしら。苦悩ってタイトルをつけて額に入れて飾っておきたいほどだったよ。でも今はいつものお前の顔に戻ったな。
It's because Yatsuhira-senpai finally handed me the key, and now I'm in a position to search for what I was looking for, free from care, and...
みんなのおかげ、エリカさんのおかげでもあるわ。うまいブリトーを差し入れてるしな。私を気遣ってくれている。
She tells me to stop and looks away, scratching her head vigorously. Even though it's not yet evening, her cheeks glow with a sunset red.
で、一日こもって何を調べているんだ？そんなに面白い本があったのかよ。学院の年間だとか、成り立ちだとか、二階屋の会の会長になったのだもの。聞かれて答えられないと恥ずかしいでしょ。
Irika turns her gaze to the almanac laid out on the desk. Just as I can't drag my Amity partner into this, I can't burn Irika-san with it either. But...
そういや一度だけ、八代先輩から年間を見せてもらったことがあったな。
The unexpected phrase startles me.
タルパ。
Word meant only for the president's ears, which I'm not allowed to speak to anyone, accidentally escapes my lips. A shudder runs up my spine and I see a vision of the deep dark forest surrounding the academy, the tree's limbs twisted as though in great pain.
タルパ？なんだそりゃ。もしかして千鳥から怖い話を仕入れてくれって頼まれたとかか。あいつどんどんそっち系の話好きになってるよな。
If I never anyway. Irika-san frowns over a teacup and I... Going along with Irika-san's mistaken assessment, I ask if she knows anything about tulpas, phrasing it as though it's just some spooky phenomenon I heard about.
タルパな。多分お前が知っているのとそう変わりないと思うぞ。一時
I
期
have no idea
宗
what
教
they're
系の
talking
都市
about,
にハ
actually,
マっ
what
て
a
いた時
tulpa
に
is
読んで
supposed
い
to
た知
be.
識だし。
Because in my mind, I'm thinking about flowers. Tulips specifically, because the German word for tulip is Tulpe, with an E at the end instead of an A. But that's not what they're talking about. What's up?
私もだいぶ前の記憶なので確認しておきたいの。それなら構わないが、タルパはチベット仏教関連の図書を読んでいた時に1項目として記述されていた。怪異というよりは、私は修行を邪魔する雑念といった感じに捉えたよ。禅で座禅の際に邪魔をする煩悩、それが分かりやすく人の形をとったものとね。チベット語で霊的な化身を意味するトゥルパから英語読みされたのがタルパよね。厳しい修行で身体と精神を限界に追い込み続けていると、ここからは私の考えだが、ストレスによって幻覚を見ることもあるだろう。それがタルパ。怪異とかではない修行で起こりうる脳科学的な作用ってなイメージだな。あんまり怖い話には向かない話だ。
Something is nagging at me. Tibetan Buddhism, worldly desires. Why would such a phenomenon appear here at a Christian school?
悪かったな。
Erika-san pats me on the shoulder. Instead of her usual feline smile, her expression is soft and girlish.
千鳥のわがままに付き合わせてよ。お前も忙しいだろうにさ。いいのよ。
My smile is fake, but Erika-san pats me on the shoulder again.
お前には借りがある。だから何でも言ってくれよ。
She mutters while looking down at the ground. She lifts her teacup to take a sip, but frowns when she finds it empty. I quickly lift the teapot, but she puts her cup back down, shaking her head to tell me she's had enough.
基礎となったタルパは話した限りだが、今のタルパは変化して少し違う方向になっちまってるんだよな。
I listened to this new information with curiosity.
イマジナリーフレンドってのは、自分の頭の中で友達を作り出すことだよ。人間関係の概念が希薄な幼い子供に見られる現象だ。自ら生み出す。お気に入りのお人形は本当の友人と思い込むようなものなのかもな。成長するにつれ現実の友人関係に触れ、自然に消滅するらしいけどな。
I think of the Sasaki twins, my very first friends.
あいつらのことなら心配いらないと思うぜ。佐々木姉妹のことだよ。今はもう吹っ切れている。
Oops, did I mention them out loud? Erika-san's words are so kind that I find myself reaching out to take her hand.
おい。ありがとう、エリカさん。ありがとうって何がだよ。いつも私を気にかけてくれていること、本当に嬉しいの。
She grumbles about me being overly familiar again, but doesn't make any move to shake off my grip. The hand is small, the fingers slim and delicate.
そろそろ千鳥の練習も終わった頃だろう。様子を見てくれよ。
I tell her she should, yet at the same time I don't quite want to let go of her hand. It's my third day holed up in Iznik. I'm continuing my search of the staff records for the elusive Shiro and Basquiat. Taking a break from the endless lines of text, I raise my eyes from the page and stare out the window at the snowy scene beyond. Lost in the view, it's hard to remember exactly what I'm doing. Basquiat. I've been chasing after that name with such single-minded focus that for a second it loses all meaning to me. It's like when you say a word so many times you start to doubt whether it's even a real word at all. Just why?
そろそろ休憩にしましょう。
I'm grateful for my tea partner's suggestion.
今度は何を入れようかしら。
It's nice of her, but honestly, it's a bit much to stop for a tea break every hour or so. The knock comes right at a moment of peak concentration as she reappears with the tea. Every hour? Girl, it takes me an hour to even drink one cup of tea, if not more.
ありがとう。
I feel like I've been shaken roughly awake from the early stages of sleep.
どう？以前気に入ってくれたウバなんだけれど、とても美味しいわ。何？
The guileless smile she's giving me is making it hard to get the words out, but I forge ahead.
少し根を詰めて作業をしたいから。根を詰めて？ええ。だから休憩はそんなに何度もしなくても。
I I'm the type when I drink tea, at first it's too hot and then I let it cool for a little too long and then I forget. And then I just drink it all in one go when it's already gotten cold, basically, because it's like, oh, well, it would be a waste to not drink it, but... well. Before I can finish, Dika-san cuts me off, clapping her hands together to emphasize the words. That's exactly it.
私もスオさんのお手伝いをした方が良いと思うの。学院の歴史を知ることはとても大切だと思うし。
Of course.
それはそうなのだけど。
She must have been waiting for the right moment to bring it up with me again. I hate how namby-pamby I am.
もしかして副会長となった義務官から言っていると思ってる？それは違うの。この学院が好きだから詳しく知りたいだけ。そうなのよ。だから。
She's about to say it's fine, but her words are cut off by a knock at the door. And someone entering the room without waiting for a response.
よー、白羽。昨日の話だけどさ。
Our visitor trails off upon seeing me with Dika-san, apparently sensing the mood between us. Then she smirks.
まずいところに来ちまったみたいだな。
She leers.
別に邪魔じゃないわ。そうかい？今から押し倒すところだったように見えたんだけどね。
Realizing that she's well into my personal space, Dika-san quickly takes a step back.
こいつは他愛ない忠告ってやつだけどな。どんな状況でもベッドマナーってやつがある。だからそういうことじゃないの。
Dika-san's braids are practically bristling. Politely ignoring this, Dika-san wheels herself over to my desk and places her sun-bleached book atop it.
昨日話したやつについてだ。私が持ってきた本の中にあったから参考にしてくれよ。
I reflexively clutched a book containing a reference to Tulpas to my chest and thanked her profusely.
昨日話した？エリカさん、スオさんから何か頼まれ事をされたの？こっちが勝手に持ってきたんだが。どうした委員長？故郷に笑顔を忘れてきたか？
Dika-san teases her, trying to lighten the mood, but Dika-san's expression remains tense as she stares fixedly at the book in my arms. What should I do? May the whims of change favor the mods. My room. Good evening. To do with scary stories, so you didn't want to ask her. She is not good with scary. Clutching the book Dika-san brought me to my chest, I quickly racked my brains. I have to cut this conversation short without hurting Dika-san.
何？確かにエリカさんへあることを尋ねて、そのことが書かれている本を持ってきてくれたのだけども。私には相談してくれなかった。そうじゃないの。リッカさんに尋ねたくても聞けなかったの。尋ねたくても。
I take her hand as I explain.
エリカさんに尋ねたのはとあるお化けの伝承なの。そして持ってきた本にはそのお化けのことが詳しく書かれているのよ。
I'm not telling her the whole truth, but it's not a lie either.
そうだったの。私を気遣って。嬉しいわ、スオさん。
Relieved that I've succeeded in my goal, I release her hand and flash Dika-san a smile.
つまり白羽は怖い話が苦手な委員長に気を使ったんだよ。尋ねられたものの詳細が載っている本を持ってきたのさ。
Right, you don't like ghosties and things, do you? She asks, and Dika-san pulls a face and shakes her head.
そういうことだったのね。ごめんなさい。私が誤解していたわ。まったくだぜ。委員長は導火線が短いんだよな。駄菓子屋で売ってる爆竹並みだ。
I cut into Dika-san's ribbing to tell Dika-san that it's my fault for giving the wrong impression.
スオさん、仲直りを兼ねてみんなでお昼を食べに行きましょうか。賛成。人生は短い。揉めている暇なんかない。
Very true.
エリカさんだけには言われたくないわ。 そいつは私が厄介事を持ち込んでくるってことか。どちらかといえば解決している方だぞ。春に私を陥れたことまだ忘れてないわよ。
Irika-san breaks into a grin under her reproachful gaze, and Mami Teapotna smiles back at her. Two of them do actually understand one another.
そうだ、厄介事を持ち込むで思い出したんだが、佐々木姉が面白い提案をしてきたんだ。私は乗ってもいいと思うんだが。
Her lips curve up into a cat-like smile. If I'm being completely honest, this is my first ever time playing in the snow. You're playing in the snow, but oh, none of you have actual pants. I'm already cold just looking at you. Yes. Also, she was practically, she lived with her grandfather most of the time. So I assume her grandfather's just a very, like, her grandfather also keeps a lot, like, very much to himself, so she just didn't get out very much. Following to Sasaki's suggestion, those of us left behind in the dorms have come out to frolic in the snow. The twins are building a snowman, with Ichigo-san working on the head and Ringo-san on the body. But Kasaki-san is completely absorbed in making multiple little snow rabbits. Meanwhile, I'm building my very first igloo together with Ika-san and some of our classmates.
もう少しで立派なのができそう。これなら4人は中に入れるんじゃない？
Ika-san nods with childlike excitement. Her cheeks flushed from the cold.
見事な鎌倉になりそうですね。こっちも負けてられないよ、リンゴ。もう少し大きく。リンゴをモデルにした雪だるま完成させなきゃ。この雪だるまって私がモデルなのですか？
What's up? With a happy chatter behind me, I continue packing snow onto our structure.
裏の部分がまだ薄い。そこをもっと補強しないとダメだぞ。
Irika-san, who's in charge of planning the igloo, issues us instructions. At first, she tried pestering Takasaki-san as she made her snow rabbits, but... Oh, this is... Aww. Oh, those are some very cute snow rabbits.
お前不器用だよな。バレエの才能の10分の1でもあればよかったのによ。
Okay, they're a little deformed, but like, come on.
だから力入れすぎだって。雪うさぎはふわっとなっているのが可愛いんじゃんか。いいからエリカは黙ってて。私なりの最高傑作を作るんだから。
She was quickly sent away and instead joined our construction team. Thank you for the fun.
しかし寒くなってきたな。そろそろ戻って熱いお汁粉でも飲もうぜ。まだダメよ。お汁粉と甘酒はこの鎌倉が完成したら中で飲むの。そいつは風情がありそうだけどな。
She looks conflicted, by way of saying leave it to me and put my hand to my chest.
もちろんエリカさんも鎌倉へ招待するわ。私がお姫様抱っこをしてあげるから大丈夫よ。抱っこってお前。まあお前がいいならいいけどさ。
Erika's cheeks are red from the long time we spent out in the cold. I better hurry up and get this finished. Oh yeah, clearly, they're red because you're out in the cold.
ねスオさん、裏側の厚みはこんな感じでいいかしら。ちょっと待って。
I go around and inspect the back wall. It's plenty thick now and all the gaps have been nicely filled in. Even if someone leans against it, it should hold.
厚みも十分だし、大丈夫だと思うわ。エリカさん、どう？ああ、問題ないんじゃないか。監督のお墨付きも出たことだし、あとはみんなで。なんで高崎さん、あんなに雪うさぎを作っているの？私もその理由が聞きたいよ。うさぎさんたちに仲間を作ってあげようとしているのかしら。嫌だ。触らぬ神にたたりなしって言うだろうが。
Everyone laughs at her theatrical phrasing, reminiscent of Yasushiro Senpai. Oh!
りっちゃん、好きあり。ちょっと、いや。こっちも好きありですよ。
Ika-san squeals as she's pelted with snowballs by the twins who finished their snowman.
アミティへのピンチだ。参戦してやれよ、白羽。私も雪合戦に参加していいのかしら。何上ずってんだ。ダチ同士なんだ。いいに決まってるだろ。いきなり攻撃なんて卑怯だよ。どの口が言いやがる。
I aim for the protesting Ichigo-san then.
ごめんなさい。まさか顔に当たるなんて。
Completely silent, Ichigo-san wipes the snow from her face before slowly and deliberately rolling in at the snowball.
かわされた。スオちゃん、なかなかやるね。
Eyes blazing, Ichigo-san sets about producing a stockpile of snowballs.
リッカさん、私たちも雪合戦しましょ
う。I call on to my Michi partner. She wipes the snow from her glasses and puts them back on.
二階屋の会の会長と副会長を怒らせた報いを受けさせましょう。
She chuckles.
楽しくなってきやがった。おい千鳥、お前も来いよ。
She calls out merrily to her Michi partner, who's still absorbed in making her snow bunnies. Aww. Cheeks flush crimson, breath coming in frosty white clouds. We join together in laughter. Occupants drift up through the crisp air toward the high winter sky. I can see how it's based on Dingo. It's a little beauty mark under the eye. It's cute. I'm on my way back to the dorms, enjoying the satisfying crunch of my footsteps in the soft winter twilight. I hear a familiar voice from behind me.
高崎さん、急に声をかけて驚かせてしまったわね。そんな風な顔をしていたものだから。
I like the cardigans they got with the winter uniform. I wish they wore those more often, because I absolutely dislike the white jacket they're wearing indoors most of the time. Because it looks so boxy. This one looks more natural. My first snowball fight with friends.
そう、楽しめたならよかった。白羽さんはあまりみんなで騒ぐのが好きではないと思ったから。
The voice is so quiet I barely hear it, but I do. And let slip an uncertain noise in Takasaki-san's brow furrows.
エリカが前に言っていたのは、雪が降って嬉しいか嬉しくないかで大人か子供かがわかるって。
I nod, seeing what she means. And like a child, I suppose an adult would simply look at the snow and admire its beauty.
だからその白羽さんは大人だからあまり楽しめないんじゃないかって。
Me? Mature?
そんなことないわ。みんなと雪遊びするなんて初めてですごく楽しかった。
She blinks her beautiful almond eyes, her lips quirking up slightly.
私も子供みたいね。
The smile is like a ray of sunshine, and I'm reminded with the painful intensity of my Amici who disappeared in the spring. The shadow lingers deep within my heart, and now it reaches out to squeeze at it, making it hard to breathe. I remember the first time I saw Takasaki-san, and my chest constricts just like it did on that summer's day.
どうしたの?
I shove down the feeling as I do when I push back the nausea that sometimes threatens to overwhelm me. My self-defense mechanism works, clearing my heightened emotions like the north wind blowing away a bank of clouds.
泣いているの? 違うわ。西日が目に刺しただけ。気を使わせてごめんなさい。そう。
The only sound in my ears is the crunch of snow under many feet, but the sound is now jarring. At the head of the group, Ichigo-san says something, and Nika-san, pushing along Ichika-san's wheelchair, chides her. Well, yes, but not how you were expecting them to be. So it's like, these two are twins. These two are dating. these two are roommates and have briefly, very briefly, almost dated in the first game, but actually these two are together, but this one here like left in spring, and she's still hung up on it, and this is the last game in the series, and we found out that okay, she's very much still alive, but where she is we have no idea. We're trying to find that out still. That is a nun, yes. They are in Catholic boarding school, because clearly a bunch of like that's just where you find lesbians, in Catholic boarding school, obviously. Oh, thank you for sure here. I look over at Takasaki-san, who's been walking beside me in silence. The glare of the setting sun obscures her face. That is yeah. I don't think you find more, like, there's a lot of stories of people who were in very religious schools who found their gay awakenings there, and I was like, yeah, gee. I wonder how that could be. Always at Catholic boarding schools. She goes on, her gaze fixed on the backs of the girls ahead of us. She gives a slight nod, her eyes on Ichigo-san. Yeah, basically.
自分が提案したらあなたを思ってのことだと見抜かれて純粋に楽しめないと思ったんじゃないかしら。白羽さんはエリカと同じで頭が切れるから。
Despite my harsh treatment of her, Rika-san was concerned about me.
言うつもりはなかったのだけど、でもなんていうか今のあなたには伝えた方がいいと思ったの。
Now, funnily enough, in the second game, there is actually a route for the nun, which does not end in the happy ending, one because it's not the canon one, and two because the nun goes and is like, I cannot be there for you in that way because I am a nun and you are a teenager and a girl. But she also doesn't berate you, so at least she's not homophobic. It's been a while since I actually played that one. I will admit. Lebanon. I know you were American. Just like how Ichigo-san asked me to give Yatsushiro-san some encouragement when she had sunk into a depression. The word friend now comes to me naturally, and what a wonderful feeling it is. The smile on her face still reminds me of my amitié partner who disappeared with the spring. At this time, the ray of sun brings a warmth to my chest. I'm a lesbian, I thought you were Catholic. Yeah. There were two more characters who were the big focus in the third game, but they left the school. They eloped, actually, like pretty much they left the school suddenly after you actually start dating in the third game. Otherwise we would have one more pair here. The days pass by slowly, like a river winding by so lazily you have to strain your eyes to spot any movement. Warmed by my amitié partner's kindness, I return to holding myself up in Eastnik again, as I had before my brief diversion in the snow. In order to chase Mayuri's shadow, I have to solve the riddles that Yatsushiro-senpai told me about. The riddles of Shi and Basquiat and the tulpa of Agape. However...
ちょっとそれは私のサンドイッチだよ。かのアーネスト・ヘミングウェイは言っています。善とは何か後味のいいことだ。悪とは何か
それがなんだっていうの？可愛い妹に一つ多めにサンドイッチをあげ全校をし、後味のいい午後を過ごしたらどうでしょ
I
うかね。
don't think that's how it works. At lunchtime, a pair of familiar voices filled the room with chatter.
喧嘩しないの。お行儀が悪いことをしたら怒りますからね。
Ichiko-san scolds them, a steaming cup of tea in her hand. Ichiko-san sticks her tongue out cheekily in response. You're deprived of affection, you have to kiss your pixel husband. Please enjoy kissing your pixel husband. Give the frog a kiss too.
もう怒ってるじゃんか。
へえ、何かしら？
なんでもないです。
She mutters something under her breath about righting wrongs.
意地悪する子には没収です。
ああ、ご賞ですよ、りっちゃんさん。
Ichiko-san protests as Dika-san hands the reclaimed sandwich back to Ichigo-san.
賑やかな昼食。
I'm still spending my days shut up on my own, but now...
さあ、スオさん。こっちはスオさんが好きなブリトーを作ってもらいましたからね。
ありがとう、りっかさん。
Twice a day at lunchtime and at 3 p.m. tea time, Izumi comes to life like this.
どう？好きそうな食材を選んで作ってもらったのだけど。
Under her hopeful gaze, I bite into the hot burrito. My mouth is filled with strips of grilled chicken, corn salsa, and crisp lettuce. Rather than the Japanese takes on burritos I usually eat, this is the bean-filled style people from Latin America favor. Corn salsa gives it a distinctive, authentic taste. How would you be able to tell whether it's authentic?
ありがとう、りっかさん。
Miss, I've grown up. In rural Japan, I barely know anything of the modern world.
よかった。いつものばかりだと飽きるかと思って、今日は凝ったものにしてもらったの。
いいなあ。私的にもそっちの方が良かったかも。私としてもそっちを奪えばよかったですかね。
あら、もしかしてお行儀が悪いことを反省していないのかしら。
Swinching back exaggeratedly from Rika-san's gleaming glasses and bristling braids.
冗談だよ。ですです。スオちゃん、何か私たちへフォローの言葉をかけてほしいですよ。
I considered for a moment.
明日は明日の風が吹くとか？後ろ向きな言葉。風とともに去りぬのスカーレット・オハラのセリフが台無しになってるじゃん。
There's a murmur of admiration as people praise Ichigo-san's knowledge, and she puffs her chest out proudly.
明日は明日の風が吹くはヘミングウェイが言った格言でもあるのですよ。私が言った格言にかぶせてくるとは処置仲間として見事としか言えませんな。
Nika-san nods admiringly at me. Nika-san no longer seems annoyed as she comes back with fresh tea for the twins.
今日はいつもよりも賑やかだわ。
ごめんなさいね。私だけ来るつもりだったのだけど、いちごさんたちが一緒にって。
それはそうですよ。こんな密室でりっちゃんとスオちゃんを二人きりにさせられないよ。私たちは映画「ボディーガード」の主人公フランク・ファーマーですよ。守られる歌姫はスオちゃんです。
I don't
なんで
understand any
私が
of
タ
these
チの悪いストーカー
references.
みたいな扱いを受けているのよ。
She protests, braids bristling, but her expression is softened. She's just playing. Our lunchtime is filled with light-hearted chatter. For some reason, I find my mind drifting to back when I arrived at the academy in the spring.
こんな風に友達と昼食を共にできるなんて。
My dreams have come true. These moments are little bites of happiness.
あら、もう食べたのね。それじゃ次はこのブリトーはどうかしら。
Another one! It may be winter outside, but in here the mood is as sunny as a spring day. Unhesitatingly, I lean forward to take a bite from the burrito in Nika-san's hand.
スオさん。
おいしいわ。スオちゃんもやりますね。焼けてしまいますな。 あ、りっちゃん、こっち向いてよ。記念に撮ってあげるからさ。もうやめなさい。
Her cheeks are flushed. I realized that the intimate atmosphere has clouded my judgment. I let Dika-san feed me, or rather, I gave her no choice in the matter.
あの
Dika-san stops protesting the twins' comments and turns back to me. I take a sandwich from the basket.
その食べさせて、いえ、勝手に食べてしまったから、そのリッカさんもどうぞ。
I can feel myself flushing right to the tips of my ears.
いいの？
Now that she's seeking information, I feel the embarrassment flood over me. As I watch in silence, Dika-san brings her pale, glossy lips toward me. Oh my god. Now that she's doing the same thing, my shyness is eclipsed by deep sentiment. I haven't even been at the school that long, yet here I'm engaged in another of these scenes I was so enamored with. They learned that they can put the sprites really close, and then they learned that they can make the eyes sparkle, and now they're taking every single chance they get to make use of that. My face beat red because Dika-san thanks me with a smile that's so dazzling I have to look away.
いいなあ、私的にも食べさせてほしいよ。二階屋の会の会長から食べさせてもらうなんてレアですからね。
The two of them hold out their own basket of sandwiches, and I find myself paralyzed by a conflicting mix of embarrassment and a desire to do anything for my friend.
バカなことを言っていないで早く食べなさい。お昼休みが終わってしまうわよ。
I love seeing the eye sparkle, it's so cute.
昼食を取りに行く時間は決まっているけど、何時までに食べるとか決まっていないから別にいいじゃん。
ゆっくり食べ過ぎると太るのよ。まあいちごさんは以前よりも痩せたように見えるからいいのかもしれないけど。
カチーン。
The grave look on her face, Ichiko-san wags her finger and sternly tells Dika-san she can't say that.
前に雑誌で読んだけれど、女の子同士の痩せたねは戦いの始まりなんだよ。
どうしてよ、褒めているじゃない。
違うんだよ。痩せたねはこの前までは太ってたという意味なんだって。裏の意味合いなんだよ。
That's stupid. She crosses her arms in front of her chest and Dika-san and I nod admiringly. I suppose it's like one of those phrases that, even when said with the best of intentions, can be interpreted as an insult in other regions and cultures.
女の子同士は難しいのですよ。
I can't help but smile at Dingo-san's earnest murmur.
でも私が言ったのは言葉通りの意味よ。
分かってるって。ただリンゴばかりトリビアを披露しては姉の保険に関わるからね。これで2度目、私的に勝ちじゃないかな。
She must be talking about the Hemingway quote, although I'm not sure it really counts as trivia.
いちごさんもそういった本を読むのね。
前の学校の時の友達とよく回し読みをしていたからね。スオちゃんはその手の話題で知っていることある？
I'm about to admit that I have no clue since I barely spoke to anyone before coming here, but instead I say...
そういえば祖父が言っていたわ。女性と言わず男性も好きな相手には質問する。どうでもよい相手には自分の話しかしないって。
Thank you for the safe redeem. Oh wait, that's a quick save. My bad. Oops.
なんとなくわかるかも。確かに興味がある人にはたくさん質問しちゃうもんね。自分の話しかしない云々は女性に多そうですけどね。
We carry on chatting until, as though our prior conversation had been gearing up to it, we're about to get onto the topic of relationships.
やだ、もうこんな時間だわ。
Ika-san lets out a surprised cry upon seeing that the hand on the wall clock is already approaching the end of our eating period.
いやー、話盛り上がっちゃったもんね。冷める料理じゃなくてよかったですよ。ここにエリカちゃんがいたら。沈黙はスパイスだぞ。黙って食え。 とか言われましたよ。
The way she imitates the voice. It's so good. Everyone laughs at her impression. This happy dream-like mealtime reminds me of a clear spring sky.
それじゃあ昼食も済んだし、これから。
Ichigo-san abruptly stops speaking, like she's just spotted something odd in a corner of the room and flashes Ringo-san a look.
実はりっちゃんとスオちゃんにお願いがあるんだよね。私たちに？実は今料理部の先輩からうさぎさんの世話を頼まれているんだよ。でもこれからちょっと約束があってさ。
呆れた。それで私たちに頼もうっていうのね。
おしゃべりしすぎて時間がなくなっちゃったんだよ。スオちゃんはいいよね。うさぎさんたちかわいいもの。やったりっちゃんもいいよね。
Nika-san looks sullen, but Ichigo-san goes over to talk into her ear.
何を話しているのかしら。女の子同士の秘密のお話ですよ。
Internally, I responded that I'd love to join in, but then...
いや、でもそんなこと。
Nika-san raises her voice, her cheeks flushed.
たまにはりっちゃんもいいことがないとね。でもりっちゃん映画のスタートレッカー見たことあるよね。
I haven't actually.
少し前に視聴覚室で見たけれど。
Ichigo-san responds to her confusion by raising a hand in the famous Vulcan gesture.
あなたに長寿と繁栄を。
Girl, I can do that. I can do that hand. They really, really made that sprite. She flashes an impish smile, her tone mischievous. For one single use, they were like, we will draw that. Momochipo murmurs, looking up at the scarlet light shafting through the clouds.
そうね。
I stay equally as quiet as I follow her gaze. The sky is like a painting, startlingly radiantly beautiful in the brief moment when the sun lingers on the horizon. Ika-san lowers her eyes from the sky to my face and smiles.
スオさんも手伝ってくれてよかった。一人だったらどっぷりと日が暮れていたもの。
最初に受けたのは私だわ。手伝ってくれてよかったというのは私の方よ。
We laugh, each thanking the other. The rabbits watch us curiously.
かわいいわ。
They are.
リッカさんのお家では何か動物を飼っていたの？
お兄様が喘息気味で、動物の毛は大敵だったのよ。だからこうして触れ合えるのが嬉しいの。
When we talked in the spring, I didn't ask about her home life, but in this intimate atmosphere, the words just slipped out. Even though I know Ika-san has her own issues at home.
ごめんなさい。
急に謝って変なスオさん。ああ、もしかしてウサギさんを独り占めにしたことを言っているのね。相変わらずスオさんは動物にモテるわよね。私はなぜか好かれないけど。
I'm relieved that she hasn't taken it as me prying into her private life. Although it makes my face burn with the effort, I decide to take a leaf out of Ringo-san's book and make doubly sure there are no hard feelings.
エリカさんならこう言うわ。女ってのはなびかないやつにちょっかいをかけたがるんだよ。
スオさんがまねっこをするなんておかしい。
While I'm relieved to have smoothed over the situation, my entire body is burning up with embarrassment. I can't believe I did an impression of Ika-san.
ねえリッカさん、エリカさんには黙っていてね。
どうしようかしら。
My face pales, but she grins at me, telling me she's joking. How many times has that smile of hers saved me? As I gaze at her. Bless you. The abrupt cooling of my flushed body makes me sneeze and my face heats up all over again.
お世話をして汗をかいてしまったものね。風邪をひかないように早く寄宿舎へ戻りましょう。
She offers me a pair of gloves. When she asks me what's wrong, I admit that I didn't bring any gloves with me. Whenever I'm thinking about something, I picture my mind as a cabinet filled with countless drawers. On each drawer is a label reading either resolved or unresolved. That is an interesting way to view your own mind. Okay. Of course, everything relating to Mayuri, Shion Basquiat, Top of Agape, and so on is in one of the drawers labeled unresolved. Then each new issue gets an unresolved label of its own before I stow it away in the depths of the drawer with the rest. But right now... Oh.
ごめんなさい。邪魔をしてしまって。
Oh, they're each wearing one glove and holding hands on the one they're not. Oh, that's cute. The words are woven into the air again. She's talking about interrupting my work in Iznik. I shake my head in response.
イズニックでの調べ物も大切だけれど、リッカさんとの2人の時間も大切だわ。
Aww.
スオさん。
根を詰めすぎないように様子を見に来てくれているのでしょ。私を気遣ってくれている。
The only sound is the soft crunch of the snow beneath our boots. The silence is far from awkward though. It's a comfortable, intimate moment of quiet shared between amitié partners.
いちごさんから言われたの。え？うさぎさんのお世話を代わるから、スオさんともっと仲良くなってきなさいって。
あの時の内緒話。
Live long and prosper, a jokey reference, but also her own way of delivering words of encouragement.
最近、スオさんと二人きりであまりおしゃべりができていない気がして、いちごさんの提案に乗ってしまったの。
Abruptly, she tightens her grip on my hand. Nika-san's cute little fingers are warm in mine.
スオさんの邪魔をしてしまうって分かっていたのに。
I feel as though I'm hearing the voice of my kind and earnest amitié from across a great distance. Gazing at her profile, I feel my heart clench deep within my chest. When hearing that I forgot my own gloves, my amitié offered me hers. When I refused, she handed me just one, then took my bare hand in hers. She told me that this way neither of us would get cold.
邪魔なんかじゃない。
スオさん。
リッカさんをそんな風に思ったことなんてないわ。アミティエに使う時間が無駄なんてこと絶対にない。
I respond to her questioning gaze with a smile.
昔、祖父が言ってたわ。無駄っていうのは手に取って見えるくらいに確かなものだって。使うあてがなく買ってしまった辞書みたいなものだって。
I squeeze her hands back, hoping to convey my feelings through touch.
なんだかエリカさんみたい。
そうね。
Suddenly realizing just how much my bookworm body and my grandfather resemble one another, I let out a soft laugh, which draws one from Nika-san too.
未決にしていた引き出し。
Although it's hardly a laudable act on my part, for the time being, I'm setting them aside and taking a break.
部屋に戻ったら紅茶を入れてくれる？
とっておきの茶葉をご馳走するわ。
I tell myself that it's okay to set them to one side just for a little while, and I carefully stow this happy memory of being hand in hand with my amitié partner away in a drawer of its own, so as to always retain its warmth. Aww.
天気のいい日に辛いサラミを食べながらうまい紅茶を飲む至福だ。
Critically Claire's picking up a post-lunch slice of salami.
苦いコーヒーの方が合うけどな。
She has after taking a sip of tea. Since I've been taking most of my lunchtime meals in Iznik, I've been eating simple things that I can take with me and that won't go cold. Which is why when Nika-san invited me to eat in the cafeteria, I was enticed by the idea of a steaming hot cooked lunch. Following that...
コーヒーが好きだなんて言う人には紅茶のおかわりをついであげないわよ。
Slowly giving you diabetes? I mean, imagine me. By the way, originally, this one, The winter entry came out in June 2022. Just for reference, the first one released in English, the English release I'm talking about. The English release of the first game, it's a very good question. Hold on, Steam is not loading it for me for some reason. Cool. The original release, English release, was on the 17th of August 2016. So imagine me, because I played that one. I played that one this game doesn't have any achievements I could go by. I can go by my own screenshots though, and I played this one in 2017. I played the first one in 2017. So like a year after it released, but still. And well, it has been a while since then, which is also why we replayed all of them on stream. And even when we played it on stream has been a while ago, because we played it in 2022. November 2022. If I go by my the last time I played. Yeah. Forgive me if I don't remember every single thing from the games. Honestly. I like that there was a bit of a gap between them though. Because I could not play them back to back.
おい、聞いたか千鳥。二階への会の副会長様が権力を傘に来て横暴な振る舞いをしだしたぞ。
Both Takasaki-san and I smiled at her joke. We ended up here. After lunch, I was ushered back to our room by Amici with the promise that she'd treat me to some special tea. Then Erika-san and Takasaki-san turned up with suspiciously good timing.
私はどちらかというと紅茶派だわ。
I do things back to back anymore. Yeah, I always fear doing things back to back because then I'm like, oh no, what if I do burn out and something that would have been an enjoyable experience is just not because I'm getting tired of it because there was too much of the same thing in one go. Even your pants are spaced out now.
高崎さんはいい人だわ。どうぞ。
Fast forward, Erika-san glows at them as Dika-san pours her a fresh cup.
我らコーヒー党から裏切り者が出たぞ。白羽なんとか言ってやれ。
She declares.
スオさん、コーヒーの方が好きだったの？
それは。
I like both, but I can't exactly say that here. Drinking from my own teacup, I offer her a smile.
もちろん紅茶派よ。
そうよね。これで3対1よ。民主主義の名のもとに被告八重垣エリカは断罪されます。
We all then laugh at her cry of it too, brute. Enjoying an after-lunch tea party together with my friends like this, I feel as though the version of me that arrived at the academy was a totally different person.
お茶会のお菓子はサラミだけどね。初めて食べたけれど案外美味しいわ。後を引く味ね。
The next... What? Oh, I've never had hamburgers before. Then this one comes along. I've never had salami before. Girl, where have you people lived? After savoring her first few bites of salami, Takasaki-san turns to me.
ブルータスといえば最近ローマ市の映画を見たのだけれど、白羽さんおすすめの歴史ものの映画ってあるかしら。ローマ市ならそうね、グラディエーターとかベンハーとか面白かったけれど。へえ、何？意外ね。白羽さんはアクション寄りでなくて、もっと世界史を勉強できるものを選ぶ。
白羽は意外と暴力描写のある作品が好きだよな。なんて言ったってクリント・イーストウッド好きだし。
I can't let that go.
イーストウッドはダーティーハリーのようなアクションだけじゃないわ。 アニソン軍の端のような切ない役も演じ、監督もしているし。
I do not know who that is.
白羽さんらしいチョイスね。
でも一番好きなのはダーティーファイターだって言っていただろ
ん？それってあのお猿さんが相棒の？
私の薫陶が生きてきたな。白羽はその猿が好きなんだってよ。
I have no idea what they're talking about.
クライドよ。
あ？
相棒の名前よ。それに猿じゃなくてオランウータン。
Letta fills the room again, although none of it is mine.
そういえば猿で思い出したのだけれど、オランウータン。ごめんなさい。猿夢って怪談知っている？都市伝説ですよね。確か夢を見るたびにどんどん死に近づいていくっていう。知っているの？せっかく聞いたから教えようと思ったのに。
I apologize to the deflated Takasaki-san for stealing her thunder, but she brushes it off and takes a sip of tea. Nika-san looks relieved.
ちょいと前に夢見が悪くてその話をしたんだよ。それでまた怪談好きが再燃したってわけ。
そうなの。ねえ、白羽さんは何か怖い話を持ってないかしら？花火師さんでも良いけれど。私がそんなお話するわけないでしょ。
I mean, maybe that's all the more reason you would have a story to share.
ごめんなさい。慣れ慣れしかったかしら。そうじゃなくて。
She casts a beseeching gaze from me to
祖
Erika-san.
父の話は本格的すぎるし。
I hesitate, remembering how Nika-san hadn't been able to sleep after I shared the story with her.
しょうがないな。それじゃあ私は一つ披露してやろうか。
Erika-san chimes in, a feline smile curling across her features.
エリカさんが？
ああ、委員長にすがられたら断るわけにはいかないからな。
Nika-san, who'd been looking to her for a different kind of help, does not argue, her expression defeated.
時期外れだが、冬の階段もおつなもんだ。一つ、次女から聞いた話を披露してやるとしよう。
それって剣道をやっているっていうお姉さん？
Bingo! She tells me, picking up a cup and adding that this is something that happened while her eldest sister was away at summer camp. No worries at all. Enjoy your lurk.
それって前に合宿から帰ってきたお姉さんへ異種返しに聞かせたっていう？
She nods. Erika-san must have shared the story with her already.
一番上の姉が夏休み合宿で出かけている間、私は姉の介助をしていた。
Oh yeah, you're the youngest out of a set of 3 sisters?
逆じゃなく？
お、言うようになったじゃないか。
Although Rika-san apologizes for her reflexive comment, Erika-san tells her she's not bothered and sips it on her tea.
次女が夏休みに入る前、剣道の稽古中に左手の指を疲労骨折してしまったんだ。
Ooh.
だから互いに足りないところを補ったってわけさ。
ご両親は？
どちらも仕事の虫でね。まあこの話には関係ない。次女が病院通いしたってところがミソでね。自宅からほど近い大学病院へ通院していたんだ。その大学病院はちょうど改装工事をしていて、病室の塔に足場を組んでいたそうだ。姉は入院していてろくに外も眺められないのかと同情したそうだよ。
入院中は外を眺めるのが楽しみだものね。
私たち的にはそこに本が入るが、脱線しちまったな。通院しているとそこの大学病院に知り合いの顔を見つけた。看護師長だ。近所に住むおばさんで、次女は朝通学するときに挨拶していたから見知っていたんだな。病院で行き合うとよく話をしていたそうだよ。
長女さんといい、エリカと違って愛想がいいのね。
Jesus Christ.
ほっとけ。次女は年上には好かれるんだよ、昔から。姉は病院へ通う際に見るともなく工事している塔を眺めた。そこでおかしなことに気づいた。
幽霊を見たとか？
そうじゃない。ある部屋のベランダから赤い紐がだらりと下がっていたんだよ。
紐くらい工事をしているんだからあるんじゃないの？
普通工事現場の紐、ロープといえば黄色と黒のトラロープだろ。赤いロープなんて見たことがなかったから目についたって話していたよ。
そうね。
それに他の場所ではトラロープが普通に使われていたんだ。だけどその部屋のベランダにだけ赤い紐が。
She lets out a breath, her gaze fixed on her feet as though searching back through her memories. The pause is pregnant.
週に2度治療と経過を見てもらいに行っていた。その度に足場を組んだ塔のとあるベランダから赤い紐が垂れているのを目にした。そして5度目高にたまたま会った看護師長にその話をした。するといつも穏やかだった彼女の顔がさっと変わったそうだ。診察を終えた帰り道、ベランダを見やると赤い紐はなくなっていた。きっと看護師長が工事現場の人に話を通したんだろうと。
She wets her lips, looking around at each of us in turn.
後日診察を受けに大学病院へ向かったと、何の気なしに向けた視線の先にはベランダにまた赤い紐が垂れ下がっていた。
何かいたずらのように感じるわね。
姉もそう思ったそうだよ。看護師長が対処してもらったのにまた赤い紐が下がっていたんだからな。いたずらをされているその部屋の住人に興味が湧いたそうなんだ。一度回収されてもまたされるくらいの人物だ。
悪趣味ね。
変わり者なのは八重垣家の豪病でね。診察を終えてから工事現場のある塔、病棟へ向かった。工事しているってのにずいぶん静かだったそうだ。奇妙に静かな長い廊下を抜け、赤い紐がかかっていた病室へとたどり着いた。
部屋のドアをノックした？
いや、今更ながらどうしたものかって困ったのさ。好奇心から来ちまったが面識もない。ベランダの赤い紐ですが、なんて切り出す
It
の
would
も
be an interesting way to open a conversation, though.
さてどうしたものかと思案していると
Hicker-san reaches a hand out theatrically while at the same time opening the door behind her with her other hand. Hicker-san glares daggers at her and she dips her hat in apology.
個室の病室から初老の男性が出てきた。姉を見下ろしながら横柄な口調で追っ払われたそうだ。その態度からそりゃいたずらもされるよなと独りごちたそうだよ。
ただのたちの悪いいたずらの話じゃない。
Give her the bus to check. And hide with them.
姉もそう思った。だからその後の通院でも管の病室のベランダに赤い紐があっても特に気にしなくなっていた。看護師長へ赤い紐の話をしたのはちょいとしたつなぎの話題だった。話を聞いた看護師長は姉の腕を取り、人気がない場所へと無理やり連れて行った。そして病室へ行ってはいないか。
正直に話したの？
いや、姉は空とぼけて、ただ一旦は消えたのにまた紐が下がっているから気になっただけだ。すると看護師長は長いため息を吐いて、誰にも話さないことを誓わせた上で、あの赤い紐は
まじない？
その土地特有のまじないだそうだよ。看護師長の家は曽祖母が拝み屋のようなことをやっていたから、赤い紐はその呪いに必要な一つ。
その言い方だと。
ああ、まじないを成就させるためには赤い紐と呪う対象の部屋へある種の植物を置く。
そんな迷信よ。眉唾な話じゃない。
姉も面白い話だとは思ったが、委員長のように迷信だろうと考えた。そして
Hicker-san lowers her voice.
看護師長はもう一度部屋に行ってないかを尋ねた。
もしかして部屋に行ってしまったら呪われるとか。
Irika-san shakes her head.
看護師長はあんなものを間近で見るのは気分のいいものではないからと告げた。そして何度も何度も消しているのに。
Something strikes me as odd about those words. Wipe it away?
確かに見たくはないわね。ただの紐でもそんなことを知ったら。
I love her. I think she still very much is my favorite character out of the whole batch.
ちょっと待って、決して捨てているのにじゃなくて。
And my question, Irika grinned slyly, cottoning on to the meaning behind what I've asked. Takasaki-san and Nika-san fixed their gazes on the tale teller.
そう、看護師長は決してと言ったんだ。姉は白羽のように聞き返した。すると、あなたが何度も見たという赤い紐、遠目からだと紐のように見えたのだろうけど、血なのよ。と
赤い紐なんてなかった。
ああ、まじないは部屋に植物とある方角の窓から自分の血を滴らせて成就する。姉はその話を聞き、背筋が凍ったそうだ。
Like a magic cookie. I wouldn't be creeped out by that. Although Rika-san tries to sound brave, her voice comes out in a frail whisper. But Irika-san tells her it wasn't what she was thinking before continuing on.
姉は通院するたびに赤い紐、血を見ていたんだが、看護師長も気づき、その度に消していたらしい。
それって。
そう、姉が凍りついたのは何度も何度も自分の血を使いまくほどの深い恨みの方だった。消されても消されてもやめない執念の方が空恐ろしかったってさ。
The end. Irika-san's final words fall heavily into the tense room, quiet except for an occasional gust of wind that echoes eerily.
幽霊は出てこなかったけれど、これ
Ooh.
はこれで興味深い話ね。
I mean, yeah.
興味深いって。こんな怖い話聞かされて、今日はもう。
今日は
Irika-san flushes and turns her beseeching gaze on me.
こんなに怖い話なら、私が話せばよかったかしら。
Mine is a story about a butterfly I once told to Kumikado-senpai. Maybe it would have been a better choice.
さて、
As I'm feeling slightly regretful, Irika-san turns to me with an incongruously cheerful smile.
次の語り手のお話を聞こうか。
She declares. I want a story about the butterfly too. Cool crisp winter air and a gentle glow of sunset. This should be my favorite kind of setting.
なんだか不吉に見えてくるわ。
Looked like she had a cat ear and had to do it. The cat-like features are so ingrained into Irika's entire existence, you see the cat ears where they aren't even visible. Familiar facade of the dormitory building seems portentous, like something from the opening of a horror movie.
冬の間だけ別荘に泊まりに来るカップル。
Murmuring, I introduced the most fitting scenario from among all the many horror movies I've watched. Our ghost story session, the fuse for which was offered by Takasaki-san and lit by Irika-san, took up more of my time than anticipated. At this time of year, dusk slips quickly into darkness. Staying in the dorms would be more comfortable. Would be more comfortable, but
イズニックにカバンを取りに戻らないと。
I left my things there thinking I'd be back to continue my research, and I don't want to leave them there overnight. With the ghost stories from earlier still running through my mind, I wrap my arms to fend off the chill as I hurry toward the school building. Then something stops me in my tracks.
バスキア教諭。
It's about a figure I haven't seen at all during the winter vacation, and she in turn brings to mind another name.
シオン・バスキア。
Suddenly, the idea of simply asking Sister Basquiat outright about the Shion Basquiat strikes me. After all, they share a surname, why not just ask her? However, another part of my brain pipes up that would be absurd. Bringing up the topic would be one thing, but if she simply feigned innocence and said she had no idea what I was talking about, that would be the end of the matter. If I were to broach the subject of Shiro Akashio, it would have to be after having created a situation in which she would have no choice but to acknowledge it. Each argument has its pros and cons, and so In the distance, Sister Basquiat's figure vanishes from sight. Before I know what I'm doing, I find myself following her. Sister Basquiat passes through the gardens. But rather than heading for the chapel as I predicted, she heads toward the greenhouses. I follow her until she enters the greenhouses, but because of the distance I've kept, I lose sight of her. Doing my best to silence my footsteps, I search the inside of the greenhouse, dyed red in the light of the setting sun, but... The words remind me of the Academy's 7 mysteries, the phenomena that spirit away those who encounter them. A shiver runs down my spine as I also recall the ghost stories we've just been recounting. Just then a noise makes me freeze in surprise. The sound of my own footsteps. I was half expecting either Sister Basquiat or one of the creatures from the 7 mysteries to appear from between the plants, but instead... flowers! Spotting the flower after which the Academy was named, I find myself transfixed by its petals. The white flower has a peculiar shape, like a star. It suddenly occurs to me that I've never actually encountered one before, despite it being the Academy's names. Surely it would be fitting to study and nurture such a plant in our gardening classes. Plus, voicing my thoughts aloud stimulates another idea. Perhaps this I don't actually know how you say it. Is being cared for by someone on the faculty, by Sister Basquiat. Perhaps this is what brought her to the greenhouses today. That would make sense, but... Angrecum. Such a noble meaning, and yet for some reason it doesn't sit right with me. God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Robert Browning. Okay. Suddenly a phrase comes to mind. It's from a verse by Robert Browning. An impactful line. It's been repeated in many a movie and novel. It's particularly famous for being the last line in Anne of Green Gables. But it originally comes from the verse drama Pippa Passes by English poet Robert Browning. The last 2 lines of the poem resonated so deeply with people that they've ended up being referenced in all kinds of media. And the reason a phrase came to me now. I finally finished reading through all the faculty registers from the past right up to the present day. I've gone through all of them, but... I was searching for a clue to the elusive Shiro Basquiat, so the realization that there's no such name on the record has me quite discouraged. While the confirmation that there is no record of them is in itself a result of sorts, I was thinking that perhaps Sister Basquiat acquired her position at the Academy via personal connection. This thought stemmed from something she once told me, that she had been brought up at the Academy. Those words had led me to believe that perhaps she had been a student at the Academy herself. However, knowing how pure she was, it occurred to me that perhaps she arrived at the Academy earlier than I thought. That perhaps she spent most of her formative years here. That was my original thought process. However... Standing up from my chair, I go to gaze out the window. Of course, I don't really see the scenery outside. My mind's eye is focused only on the almanacs I was entrusted with by Yatsushiro Senpai. Something doesn't feel right about the fact that the name wasn't there. An esteemed teacher may be honored with a statue of some sort, but would they really be buried on school grounds at the old chapel? Would he have died without any living relatives and written his desire to be laid to rest here and into his will? Is that name even, like... Are we sure that's even a man? Doesn't have to be a man, we only have the name. If there was a faculty member to whom the Academy meant so much that they wished to be buried here, then surely the name would appear in the ledger. even if Shion Basquiat was a man here in this all-woman school. I feel like it would be natural for such a figure to linger not only in the physical records, but in people's memories. Questions just weren't adding up. Shaking my head, I finally focused on the snow-covered landscape outside. Its cool whiteness cleansed my eyes and my mind. Murmuring to myself, I ran through some of my favorite novels, thinking about who would be the most suitable detective for the job. We're gonna play pretend. Just as I did with the incident back in the spring. Fancying myself a detective, I thought hard about what the detective from my favorite book would do. The conclusion I came to was... Deciding to return to the origin of it all, I bring myself back to the old chapel. I hadn't returned since that day when I found Shion Basquiat's name on the headstone. I inspect the area just as I did the first time, but there are no new discoveries to be found around the building. I'm simply reaffirmed in my belief that it was burnt down. A closer inspection only reveals it to be slightly smaller than the Academy's current chapel, but with similar brickwork. Brickwork! Jesus. Since I don't have any special tools on hand, there's not much more I can do. Giving up on my survey of the ruined chapel, I head for the gravestone. It's hidden by a grove of red-berried elder trees, a variety that doesn't grow in the surrounding forests. Well, not hidden. Protected. His grave, as I've come to think of it. Cross-shaped headstone stands quietly beneath its mantle of snow, the same as the day I found it. Standing before his grave, I attempt to resolve my burning questions one at a time. First, why was Shion Basquiat interred at the Academy? I can't expect to come up with anything more definitive than I did in Iznik. The next question that rises to the forefront of my mind is, why was he buried here specifically? However, the logic-loving detective residing with my brain quickly cross-examines that train of thought. That's true. Looking at the headstone before me beneath the cover of snow, I can see that it's clean and moss-free, indicating that someone has been tending to it. Which means, lost in thought, my gaze falls to the pedestal on which the epitaph was carved. That's when I notice a pure white petal, almost indistinguishable against the pale snow. As though drawn forward by a sense of premonition, I stoop down to brush away the snow, revealing the flower placed upon the plate. Oh! The Academy's namesake flower. The flower I saw in the greenhouse when I followed Sister Basquiat. Even as I think this, my grandfather's words come back to me. People tend to place that which they don't want to deal with or think about far away, out of sight and out of mind. And when they are forced to let go of something important to them, they choose that which is far from their own heart and mind. He declared that there were no exceptions to these rules. What on earth had he been talking about that prompted him to say that? No, that was a distraction. I was trying to put off coming to a conclusion. Two signs that Yatsushiro-senpai gave me both seem to be pointing toward one person. I've been looking anywhere and everywhere but at her. I circled back to a thought that has occurred to me time and time again. What if I simply asked her directly about Shion Basquiat? However... It's instinct rather than logic that tells me as much. Still, feeling somewhat unmoored, I stare silently at the name carved into the stone. Intently. I stare intently, not silently. I start to daydream just like I do when working in the library. I think back on a flower I found yesterday when I went back to visit Shion Basquiat's grave. In the language of flowers, it means prayer. I know nothing about Shion Basquiat other than his name, yet it seems to be a perfectly fitting flower to place at his grave. Then... While it's still only conjecture after finding the same flower in the greenhouse after she disappeared from sight, I'm sure it's her who's tending to it. Still, it's not a conclusion arrived at via intuition, but a conjecture based on the circumstances.
スオさん、
バスキア教諭に直接シオン・バスキアのことを尋ねてみるのは。
スオさん
This time it's intuition that brings me my answer. She won't tell me anything. Telling me about Shiro Akashio would mean revealing her secrets.
スオさん、調子が悪いの
Thank you for the pet. The sudden sensation of a hand on my shoulder brings me back to my senses, and I look up into my Amiti's concerned face.
何かしら。
何度も呼びかけたけれど返事がなかったから気分が優れないのかって。大丈夫？
We're good.
平気よ。ただぼーっとしていたの。あまりに人が来ないから。
You're the highlight time.
そう。
I glance around the deserted library to prove my point, but she's still regarding me with suspicion.
リッカさんに気取られるわけにはいかない。
確かに全然利用者がいないわね。冬休みの間も図書委員のお仕事しなくてはいけないの？
レファレンスのようなことはしないけれど貸し出しは行っているの。お休みの間はカードを机の上の底の箱に入れてもらって。
Rather than the books they're borrowing in his notebook.
それだったらスオさんが来ることはないんじゃないの？
ずっと借りたままの生徒がいるかもしれないから。
I set a notebook and a card side by side.
このカードと貸し出した日付がわかるノートを見比べて超過していた場合は
Yeah, you might lose sight of something like this during vacation. Malika's and voices her understanding, she still doesn't look entirely satisfied by my explanation. She looks between me and the box on her desk. Then, as still searching my face for a sign, she questions me.
あのね、もしかして何か悩んでいることがあるんじゃないって思うの。
何を？
私にはその何かを思いつかないけれど大切なことを隠しているって。もしそうなら話してほしいの。
Her earnest gaze bores into me.
話してもいいかもしれない。
Maybe you should? I think for a split second, but then...
悩みなんてないわ。
本当？
本当よ。ただぼーっとしていただけ。お腹が空きすぎちゃっていたからかもしれないわ。
Forces a smile to my face and her tension finally eases Hidika-san's. Well, if you say so.
ここへ来たのもお昼を誘いに来たのよ。お仕事は中断して食べに行きましょう。
With a cheerful smile, she takes my hand in hers. Her hand is warm. But even as I sense her kindness to her gentle touch, I'm thinking back on the chilliness I felt that day. That night when, despite sweating in the warm air under my raincoat, I was frozen solid at the core.
もう一度かの夜に立ち返られなくてはならない。
I hold very strongly to that belief. Even as I smile at my amity partner, my mind is back in that midsummer night. Best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. I see this one is going to throw like 500 Hemingway quotes at us. As the cold wind chills my face and the snow crunches beneath my feet, I think of Hemingway's words.
私は傲慢だわ。
I came to the doors of the academy seeking friendship, yet here I am deceiving the very friends I found. The best friends a girl could ask for, friends who care for me, who would do anything for me.
私が最も嫌いなものに自分から進んでなっている。
I trudge along the snowy moonlit path, my mind caught in a turmoil of contradictions. Conflicting emotions burn within me as I make my way toward my destination. Okay, so we can do this. I'm searching for the clues that might lead me to my missing amitié. I've become a spectre. I'm in the classroom where Sister Basquiat once claimed she had been attacked by the hookman. A lie. At the time, I'd carefully examined the room for clues. However, I was unable to unearth any new discoveries. Back then, I went over the room with a fine-tooth comb. But now, armed with the key given to me by Yatsushiro-senpai, I figure I might be able to find something new by approaching it from a different angle. Would there really be something here after all this time? In the end, I'm unable to discover anything in the room. Even so, with my heart aflame like this, I don't feel I can simply go back to the dormitory where my amitié partner waits. Which is why I'm now standing here in the darkened art room, my mind still in turmoil. This is the space I'd once been desperate to enter in order to dig into my amitié's past. Now, as president of Council of Nikkei, the clubroom keys are in my charge and I can slip in without any issue. Glancing at the clock on the wall to make sure it's not time for the staff to patrol, I walk over to where the paintings were stacked in a corner awaiting disposal. Paintings have already been disposed of. All of them are gone except for the paintings I'm holding on to, the paintings with the message, Mayuri's paintings. A series of works depicting the Holy Family. I recall how my heart pounded when I first came across them, and how it felt when I found the message she left for me. That was my first instinct. I felt that she was reaching out to me. As I appreciate her study of the Virgin Mary, I think of her. Smart, sweet, kind, brimming with vitality. Her slender frame hummed with energy. She wasn't the most expressive girl, so each genuine smile from her was like a miracle. It brightened the very air around you. We found one another in the darkened library, lit only by the silvery moon. On that night we came together, I was sure we both felt like we'd never be parted. And yet Mayuri did disappear without a word. I'm suddenly reminded of Mozart's The Magic Flute. A prince and a princess join hands to overcome trials of fire and water in a journey of love, justice, and mutual understanding. I was once alone, and in her I found someone I could entrust myself to. Then I abruptly lost her, and now I seek her again, like the protagonist in so many a cliché tale. So I thought of the magic flute. Some noise freezes me to the spot. My senses tell me it was a sound made by a person. I feel a presence behind the noise. My heart is in my throat. My whisper echoes through the deserted art room with startling volume. Then... I call out into the art room. No, they're not here. They're out in the corridor of the prep room, or perhaps in the empty adjacent room. Either way, I sense the presence of a sentient being other than myself. It's a kind of insight that only comes when my senses are sharpened to a pinpoint. My words permeate the empty space. What's brought back to me in that place is a sense of agitation, a shared mood that can only be experienced here in this place in the dark of the night. I choose my words carefully. Anxiety is right in my throat. Because she, is close enough to hear me, but depending on what I say, she could be gone again in an instant. I tell her about the grave and its epitaph, and then... I speak under the superstition that the person lurking here is Sister Basquiat. My words dissolve into silence. My question hangs in the air, yet I feel that the other person is still here, stuck for an answer. Wrapped in a close, intimate shroud of darkness, I wait for her, to speak. Then... Someone somewhere in the darkness says my name. Could you tell it was me from my voice? Then is the hidden person Dahlia Basquiat as I supposed, or could it be someone else who knows me well? My brain begins to speculate at top speed, but... The way her voice said Suo, I recognize it. Could it be... No. The discordant feeling that that's simply the interpretation I want to be true rears up at me like a wave, then quickly dissipates. But
その壁の向こうにいるのはマユリなの。
my beloved. There's no way I'd mistake the voice of the girl I love.
マユリなの。ねえ、お願い、返事をして。
My voice quavers. The cold is gone. The dark has vanished. Sweat blooms on my brow. My feet aren't on solid grounds. I feel as though I'm floating. Again, I hear Mayuri's voice. What the fuck is happening? The girl I've been searching for. Mayuri Kosaka's voice reaches my ears from beyond the single wall between us. At the sound of it, the tension releases from my body and my feet come back down to earth as a euphoric joy washes over me.
マユリ、本当にあなたなのね。よかった。消えてひどいことをされているのだと思って。なぜ黙って消えてしまったの？何かお家の事情が、何か口にできない理由があったのでしょ？私、あなたのことをずっと探していたのよ。あなたを求めて二階屋の会の会長にまでなった。内気で引っ込み思案な私が、今二階屋の会の会長をしているの。リッカさんは副会長になって支えてくれているのよ。
I continue talking to the wall. While no response comes, I sense that she's still there on the other side, listening. Euphoria buoys me up, knowing that Mayuri is hearing my voice. My ears catch a faint whisper and I pause, waiting for her to go on.
私のことは忘れてほしいんだ。私、何か気に障ることを言って。ありがとう。
The gratitude is a non sequitur.
離れていても、君の幸せを祈っているよ。
The smooth words tell me that she has no intention of coming back. Presence gradually fades along with the intimate atmosphere. The person I love is moving away from me. As much as I long to chase after her, my feet won't obey. After hearing her voice, my body won't listen to me. But the sunny Mayuri Kosaka I knew has become a completely different person.
忘れない。
When I finally force out the words, my voice is hoarse as an old woman's. I grip my chest tightly, holding my frozen heart.
必ずマユリを迎えに行くから。
Presence has gone. I'm simply shouting into the void she left behind. I hear the song of a nightbird, an ominous warbling that crushes all emotion. When I realize it's the sound of my own weeping, the cold and the silence rush back in and the world returns to normal. You are unloved. Tsuyoshida Hana remembers the person who always said that to her. Painstakingly, deliberately, they crushed her heart to pieces. Until her father noticed something was wrong.
だから言ったでしょ。欠陥品が愛されることはないって。
Directly into Tsuyoshida Hana's ear, in a tone more intimate than Mayuri's, more intimate than anyone's, her stepmother whispered to her. Yeah, in this house we absolutely despise and loathe her stepmother. Horrible woman. Also, thank you for the pasta check.
夏目漱石全集に甲府という作品がある。とある青年が不実さゆえ三角関係となり、やはり不実さゆえ全てを捨て家を飛び出す。行くあてもなくさまよい歩いていると声をかけられ、言葉巧みに炭鉱へ連れて行かれるという筋だ。炭鉱の町でさまざまな人たちと出会い、販売の仕事をこなし5ヶ月もの時を過ごす。そしてこのお話は青年が家に戻った際に揺さぶられ、目を覚ました夢のように唐突に終わってしまう。今や伝聞でしか知り得ない鉱山町や行動でのやり取りなど、 緻密に描かれ面白さを感じたけれど、私の好きなあの人は青年が成長しないことに恐怖と安堵を覚えたと言った。住む町を変え、仕事を変え、人と会い、労苦に耐える。しかし青年の考え方はまるで変わることはなかったのだと。始まりと終わりで変わることのない自分。変化は良いこととして語られることが多いけれど、変わらないことにも努力が必要であることを私は学院で知ることになる。これから始まる物語は、変わらぬ思いを標本にして閉じ込めた愚かな少女のお話。
Oh, peach soda is pretty much always good.
The Miner.
I like peach soda. I'm drinking pink grapefruit mixed with water right now. Winter vacation is over and the new school term has begun. Since today is the first day of term, as the president of the Council of Nicaea, I have to make a speech. I must brace myself and do what needs to be done. Yet, nevertheless, I'm a mass of barely suppressed oppositional conjunctions. Standing before the boxes with my name neatly written on them, I feel calm and detached. A chance meeting with my beloved Amitié the night before last. The night I was, however briefly, reunited with Mayuri Kosaka, the girl I've been seeking. I fired my words, my questions, at her through the wall in rapid succession, trying to make up for all the lost time between us, but... The softness of her words told me that she wanted to leave me. Impassively, I opened the first box and examined the contents. Inside the bright white box lies a dark uniform, the contrast like night and day. I take out the predominantly black outfit and hold it before myself in front of the mirror. Perfectly suited to my current mood. A splash of pure white across the collar provides the only offset to the darker shades. I open the other two boxes. Inside one are 2 pairs of shoes, inside the other is a uniform for outdoor use along with 2 capes and berets in the same color. Mechanically, I shrug out of my nightwear and pull on my winter uniform. Having been made to measure, the clothes fit me like a glove. Stepping into the brand new shoes, I find them comfortable as a pair of well-worn favorites. Clad in my winter outfit, I gaze at my reflection in the mirror. I look like I'm ready to attend a funeral. It's like the thing's been tailored for my innermost feelings. Aww. It's a nice dress, though. I say her name to myself. Spring passed by, summer faded, autumn called, winter covered all. Even as the seasons passed, I never forgot about her. Behind my eyelids is burned the image of Mayuri smiling beneath the cherry trees. Without resorting to thoughtless words, I said I would come for her. Realizing that truth has calmed me, my heart shaded like the dark side of the moon has taken on a fiery glow. I know that Mayuri wants me to save her. She said those words for my sake. No, the goddess of truth made her say them. Behind pain lies truth. That's what my stepmother taught me. I snap at the mirror spectre of my stepmother and her unpleasant words, and I vow to become stronger. Strong enough to bring Mayuri back from the clutches of the goddess of truth. After glaring at the weak self I see reflected, I turn toward the bed to wake Rika-san from her slumber. When I open the door to the classroom for the first time since before the break, all eyes turn to me. Then everyone starts to talk excitedly with their amitié partners. Winter vacation began right after the elections ended and I became president. The fact still hasn't really sunk in for me, and probably even less so for my classmates. What? I hear a whistle from behind me. My Running her eyes over me from head to toe, she regards me with disgruntlement.
お前、マジでそういう服装似合うな。
She says.
あ、冗談はよして。
悪いが生まれてこの方、冗談と嘘はついたことがなくてね。と、いつもの軽口は抜きにして大したもんだ。八代先輩抜いたんじゃねえか。
I can feel my face flushing hot with embarrassment at her compliment.
エリカさんの方が素敵だわ。
お世辞をありがとう。私はこういう服は似合わないのは分かっているよ。
I'm about to say something to try to wipe the frown from her face when...
本当だ、すごい。これは確かに一見の価値ありですね。
Spotting me as soon as they enter the classroom, the twins come dashing over.
ごきげんよう、そうちゃん。
ごきげんよ
服すっごく似合っているね。シックですごく決まってます。
Yesterday at Suo Day, more stairs are converging on me as the twins loudly sing my praises. I can feel myself starting to sweat under their gazes.
りっちゃんに聞いた通りだったね。りっかさんから聞いたの？そうですよ。朝目を覚ましてスーちゃんを見たときは魂を持っていかれそうになったと言ってましたです。りっかさん。
Knowing my kind amitié partner as I do, she was surely speaking the truth. Still, it's definitely an exaggeration. The twins are circling around, giving their thoughts on all aspects of my outfit. I'm wondering how best to get them to stop.
私が言った通りでしょ。
I hear my amitié partner's voice.
まあ、確かになかなかのものね。
It's followed by a voice with a slight edge to it.
遅い到着だな。
Well, you probably were busy. With a feline smile, Irika-san directs a comment to Takasaki-san, who's standing beside Rika-san.
そこで花火師さんに捕まったのよ。アミティがどれだけ素晴らしいかを語ってくれたわ。話半分だったけど。
Trailing off, she stares at me with a faraway look in her eye, then turns to Rika-san.
あなたが鬼の首を取ったように言うのもうなずけるわ。
She admits.
そうでしょ。
In a quiet squeak, I tell the triumph in Rika-san to stop it.
スオーさんを見慣れている私でも、今朝はしばらく目を離せなかったんだから、当たり前よ。
She puffs her chest out proudly. Although Takasaki-san's brow furrows, she nods her assent.
まあ一番似合うのは花火師副会長の言う通りだわ。でも2番目は私のアミティよね。
Of course.
そうね。
I wonder if they shared some private conversation before arriving at the classroom. Rika-san runs her eyes appraisingly over Irika-san as she sits frozen in her chair.
確かにこういった八重垣さんは。何？他に誰が似合っているっていうの？
勘弁してくれ。
Takasaki-san glares threateningly at Rika-san, who's standing with her hand on her chin. Then she turns to me.
白羽さんもこのクラスで2番目に冬服が似合うのはエリカだって思うわよね。
She asks me. yeah. I'm just gonna agree with you here. Owing to her pressure, I take another good look at Irika-san.
似合っていると思うわ。
I say.
でしょ？そうよね。エリカ、だから言ったじゃない。嘘じゃないって。
やめてくれ。これ以上生き恥をさらさせないでくれ。
She must be painfully aware of her Takasaki-san's exclamation, drawing the gazes of her classmates. She scratches her head, her cheeks flush.
エリカさんの気持ち、わかるわ。
Determined to take a step toward her wheelchair.
白羽。
そろそろ席へ着きましょう。ホームルームが始まるわ。
I hear murmured thanks from behind me as I block her from the stares of our classmates. Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is. Another one by Ernest Hemingway. I always think of this quote when I find myself in some situation.
今はないものについて考える時ではない。今あ
I do find myself in situations all the time. I recite a familiar phrase to myself. Surrounded on all sides by horrors, I think back on how I got here. After delivering her New Year's greetings and expressing her delight to see us all again at the start of this new term, and then delivering her usual sermon, Sister Basquiat had an announcement to me. Oh! She explained to us. Curious chatter filled the classroom and Nika-san raised her hand.
新しい科目ですが、それは選択教科のようなものなのでしょうか。学院案内には載っていなかったと思うのですが。
Sister Basquiat's brow furrowed slightly as she responded.
道徳の科目の中の一つとして数えられていますから、載っていなかったのでしょう。今は専門の先生もありませんし。
霊法の授業のようなものですか？
霊法の中に含まれるには少し意味合いが違いますが。
I mean, you could also just say what the new class is. Smiling brightly, she continued on.
この科目を学ぶことで心豊かに過ごせることができます。それは日々の生活というものにおいてとても有意義なことなのですよ。
So a subject that fell under the umbrella of morality in the broader sense of the word. Accordingly, my first thought was that perhaps we would be learning the skills necessary for volunteer work, but now is not time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is. Suddenly the phrase I turn to whenever something unexpected happens flashed through my mind. Sister Basquiat was still smiling genially.
では、標本室へ向かうとしましょう。
Genially? She instructed us. Genially from genuine? Photography? No. Ooh, no! I wanna... No, absolutely not. The detestable words leave a nasty taste in my mouth. As might have been expected from the word specimen, I'm now surrounded by displays of dead flowers, plants, and insects. I've been trying to keep my gaze fixed firmly on my desk, but while Sister Basquiat is speaking, I'm compelled to look up at her. Screwing up my courage, I raise my head, only to find a dead scarab beetle staring reproachfully back at me.
これが標本においての基本となります。何かご質問のある方は？
Do I have to do this?
はい、標本学ってとっても面白そうですけど、標本室の棚を見ると綺麗な石とか化石とかもありますけど、これも標本なのですか？
標本制作には標本師と呼ばれる職業があります。あまり知られてはいませんが。
My gaze flicks towards the display of fossils Ichigo-san indicated.
標本作業に携わる標本師ですが、すべての標本を一人で行うのではありません。扱う標本の性質から3つの分野があります。その3つは生物学標本師、地学標本師、医学標本師と分けられます。佐々木さんが挙げられた化石は地学標本の分野になります。
It's a rather long-winded explanation, but Ichigo-san nods enthusiastically.
標本と聞いてみんなが思い浮かべるのは昆虫の標本でしょうが、お花や鉱物、それに書物までと多岐にわたります。
本を標本か。何でもありなんだな。
急にやる気になったわね。標本学は思い出を固着させるものなの。皆さんの学院の思い出もこの教科を学ぶことでより深いものとなることでしょう。
My classmates are looking interestedly around at the displays in the room. Minerals and plants are all well and good, but the majority of the display space is taking up bay.
白羽。
はい。
緊張しているみたいだけどな。大丈夫だ。ここにいるやつはみんな死んでる。噛みついたりはしないさ。
Nika-san, who knows how much I hate insects, offers some reassurance, but I don't dislike insects because of the harm they can do. It's their very existence.
それではまず私が制作した標本から見てもらいますね。では。
From under the desk, she brings out a small wooden box containing... I mean, I absolutely am on suicide here. I would also not be able to stand this. She hands the box to the nearest student, her instruction to pass it on to the next person after you've had a look, ringing cruelly in my ears. Butterflies are the most problematic insect for me. Watching the box gradually growing closer, I feel sweat erupt across my forehead. How awful. This isn't any tiny gossamer wing, but a huge swallowtail butterfly. I also do not like looking at dead animals like this.
ナフタリンの匂いかしら。直射日光に浴びないよう箱に保管していたから。
Twins nod, staring indolently at the specimen. They're so brave.
大丈夫？スオさん。何が？真っ青な顔をしているから気分が悪いのなら。
I'm aware that I'm sweating. I feel the speck of the blue butterfly that once landed on my finger.
少し気分が悪くて。やっぱり大丈夫？保健室へ一緒に行きましょうか。
Nika-san's cool fingers drift across my moist forehead, and I feel terrible that I've dirtied her with my sweat.
汗が。
She pulls out a handkerchief and mops my brow. My skin feels cool in its way.
ありがとう、リッカさん。
I whisper my thanks in a tiny voice.
どうぞ、白羽さん。
The girl in the seat in front of me turns and nonchalantly hands me the slim box. Reflexively, I take it from her. Then I freeze, staring down at the enormous blue butterfly, my gaze pinned to it in the same way the insect is pinned to the card.
スオさん顔色が悪いわ。本当に。
I can hear someone speaking loudly beside me, but the sound scarcely reaches me. The only noise in my ears is the high metallic whine you hear when listening to absolute silence. No. Oh.
あなたが指に留めていた青い蝶の本当の姿を教えてあげるわ。あれは。やめて!
I clamp both hands over my ears. The box tumbles to the desk. Its clatter, no, my own cry plummeting the room into an icy silence.
白羽さん。
Oh god, what did the stepmom do? Seeing that the impact of the fall has knocked the butterfly loose, I realize I've done something terrible. Regret washes over me.
大丈夫ですか？お怪我はない？
バスキア教諭、私、標本を。
誤って落としてしまったのでしょう。標本は直すことができます。それよりも、怪我はしていないのね。
Concern shining in her eyes, she takes my hand to check for cuts. Guilt wells up in me, and a shudder runs down my spine at the lingering note of that woman's voice in my ear.
すみませんでした。
Lowering my head, I carefully make sure the butterfly rests outside my field of view. But it feels as though that woman is lurking somewhere in the classroom, and I keep my head down and my gaze fixed on my feet until the last echoes of her voice fade. I feel like because the first game had a few translation issues back when it first came out, like literally the game came out and because the script was a mess and they actually had someone else work on it and like fix it up in some places, but I feel like we're missing a few details on the stepmom. Like at most I can say, okay, yeah, she's definitely like legit traumatized by her stepmother, but we don't really fully know why. Like in the first game, the only thing we really get is, oh, well, she forced her to play piano, but that's not really the worst part of it, I think. Maybe we'll find. I mean, they don't need to show us in more detail all the ways that her stepmother traumatized her, but I feel like we're missing a little like context to why it is so bad for her. As I lie in the bed in the nurse's office, I think back on the day I went to live with my grandfather. It was a winter's day very much like today, with snow falling thickly from the skies, though the flakes were on a set trajectory straight from heaven to earth. The only sound in the room was the whistling of the kettle set atop the kerosene stove. My grandfather, who had been a doctor before he retired, took my hand in his and said to me, "You can't run from your emotional trauma." Even after my father divorced her and she was out of my life, I still feared my stepmother. But that day, my grandfather spoke to me like an equal. He told me that while I couldn't run from it or forget about it completely, he could teach me techniques I could use to banish the shadow of my stepmother from my mind. A mental wound is just like a physical one. It won't heal with simple platitudes or one of emotional breakthrough. He went on, "Like a flesh wound, mental trauma takes time to heal, but heal it does. And I will be here to help you in that healing process." And I... I'm sorry, it's a little fucked up that they gave her a new sprite. I mean, it's nice. But her new sprite next to Rika's old sprite just makes her face look more off. The eyes are so small. The face is longer and the eyes are so small up here. When before they drew a smaller faces and bigger eyes. Is anyone else seeing that? Like, okay, she's more mature, I guess, whatever, but why did she get a bigger head? Cool, new sprite. I give Rika-san who's come to pick me up a nod. Yeah. She does look older. She looks way more mature in that sprite. Not only is your brain and spinal strength shrink, but your eyes too. Is that why your eyesight gets worse the older you get? When I force a smile, Rika-san nods her assent, although she still looks concerned. When I closed my eyes to sleep, the conversation with my grandfather came back to me. Perhaps because of all the time I spent in my memories before drifting off, after waking from my shallow slumber, my mind still feels hazy. Gazing out at the snow through the window, I think back on that day when I revealed my loathing of butterflies. Rika-san gently takes me by the arm. I'm about to repeat that I'm fine when someone calls a name from behind in a somewhat harried tone. Our classmate Tsuwabuki-san is at the other end of the corridor. She comes trotting up to us like a puppy, then addresses Rika-san as the vice president. Who the fuck is she? Full CG and everything, damn girl. Imagine shutting your eyes like a snake instead. Why would you put that image in my mind? She says, giving me a quick bow. Like at the start of autumn, she had been involved in a shapeshifter incident, incited by the romantic rivalries within her amitié group. Oh, that's her! Okay. Oh. In overthinking things, I complicated the matter, yet Shido-senpai resolved it. However, since she had made the choice to keep the truth of the incident to herself, it never came to light. And then she... Hmm? No, because look, in her normal sprite, it's not... I mean, obviously we've also been used to this sprite the entire time. You have a migraine, I wasn't yours, no! Hope your migraine gets better. Tsuwabuki-san regards Rika-san respectfully as she deliberates. Perhaps Rika-san has figured that Tsuwabuki-san must find it painful being around her amitié partners after being rejected romantically. And maybe that's why she recommended her for the position of general clerk on the council. In any case, Tsuwabuki-san is eternally grateful to Rika-san and acts as her right-hand woman. I'm back to bed. Aww. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the hay after stream immediately as well. I'm so tired. just trying to find a good stopping point. For some reason, Tsubuki-san fixes me with a half-pleading, half-reproving stare.
まだあまり気分が優れないみたい。
それじゃすぐ保健室へ。
寮に戻って休むから平気よ。つわぶきさんが話していた件は悪いのだけど、お二人に任せていいかしら。
それは別に構わないのだけど。
任せてください。
ちょっと。
Watching her take Dika-san by the hand and hurry off with her, I put my hand softly to my chest, wondering how widely the wound I carry has been torn open. After confirming that it's not as bad as when I first went to live with my grandfather, I head back to the dorms, returning students' greetings as they pass me by. Or rather, I wander off without any clear destination in mind. I want to dispel the nausea that's gnawing at my stomach. As I'm walking slowly through the entrance hall under the watchful gaze of the Virgin Mary.
ベリカさん。
Yeah, no, something about her like this is... Her head is too long. I happened to cross paths with Erika-san.
危ないところだった。行き違いになるところだったぜ。
せっかくお料理を作ってもらったのに冷めたらいけないものね。
Seeing my curious look, Erika-san raises the paper bag sitting on her lap.
このままじゃ昼飯を食い逃すと思って。
もしかして私のために。
もしかしなくてもお前にだよ。なんだ、委員長がもう持って行ってたか？
Shaking my head, I tell her that Dika-san has been taken away by Tsubuki-san on council business.
へえ、佐々木姉の話もまんざら嘘でもないみたいだな。
Sasakis are everywhere. Gossip? Just go to the Sasakis. The heck, I was like, yeah, but to be fair though, long neck syndrome I don't mind as much in most anime style things because they would look weird if they had normal length necks. Like you kind of need to make the necks longer in the first place, just to put all of the hair the long hair they give every single character all the time. Like that I don't mind as much, but her face is so long.
いちごさん。白羽さんも大きなアドバンテージがあるからって油断してたらダメってことよ。
I tilt my head, unsure exactly what she's trying to say.
これ白羽さんに BLT サンドよ。
I reached out to take the proffered paper bag.
おい待てよ。白羽には私が用意した昼食をって決めただろ。それは私の BLT サンドだぞ。
そうだったかしら。別にどっちだって構わないじゃない。
Takasaki-san looks at me, eyebrows raised. Maybe I'll have both.
ならエリカさんと高崎さんの持ってきたお昼どちらもいただこうかしら。
Takasaki-san's eyes widen, but Erika-san looks relieved for some reason.
驚いた。白羽さん検討家だったのね。
それだけ食欲が出たなら安心だ。たくさん食べるといい。
With that, she passes me her own paper bag. Nausea still pulls in the pit of my stomach like an oiled slick bit.
変な雰囲気になるのは嫌だものね。
No, because see, if she's looking this way, if she's looking to the left, it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But on her new one where she's looking to the right, it's longer. Feeling pressured by the situation, I went and sat and eat them both. Forcing a smile, I take the other paper bag, also containing a BLT sandwich.
ねえ、私たちの部屋で休まない？美味しいコーヒー豆が手に入ったのよ。
Well, I'm grateful for the invitation.
ごめんなさい。この後寄るところがあるの。
Hold on. I'm gonna take a small screenshot of this one. And when the other one comes up, I'm gonna take one of that one as well.
調子悪いのに平気かよおい。
二階屋の会のことでバスキア教諭と待ち合わせしていて。
The truth is, I don't have any such appointment, but after my interaction with Dika-san earlier, it's the first thing that pops into my mind.
バスキア教諭と？
ダメよ。
何がだよ。
Kirika-san has a hand on the rim of her wheel, ready to move, but her métier partner stops her with a disapproving look. With a wave to the two of them, I set off toward the chapel. In all honesty, I didn't expect Sister Basquiat to be here. Well, I hadn't intended on actually following through with the excuse I gave. Sister Basquiat was indeed waiting there at my destination. In the still, otherwise deserted chapel, I find her knelt in prayer before the figure of Christ. It strikes me as a distinctly different act to the prayers she performs in front of us in the classroom or during chapel services. This looks to me like Sister Basquiat's offering up her personal prayers. When my footsteps echo through the quiet of the chapel, she slowly raises her head as though surfacing from a dream, then turns toward me. Oh, I didn't want to skip that, sorry. Perhaps here in front of God she feels compelled not to hide anything from me.
Good night, Lena. Thank you for coming by.
Her face is shrouded in shadow, but the smile playing across her lips seems almost seductive. I walk close until I'm face to face with her.
ごきげんよう、白羽さん。
She greets me with the same statuesque smile as always.
もうお体に触りはないの？
はい、ゆっくり休ませてもらったおかげでもう平気です。
She seems pleased to hear that. Ignoring the voice whispering in my ear, I pick a topic that I think will engage her and initiate a conversation. Casual chat is something I wouldn't have been able to manage until just recently. I make a slightly bob joke, to which Sister Basquiat responds with a laugh. The situation alone would have been unimaginable for me back at the start of spring. Then, choosing my timing carefully,
バスキア教諭は片上寮長とは仲がいいのですよね。
I broached the topic.
彼女とはこの学院の同期なの。
片上寮長とは
See. Okay, hold on. Right? Like, that's not just me. Something about her face in the newsprint just looks off to me. Okay. Whatever.
そうです。私はこの学院から外に出たことがないの。
Of course.
でもバスキア教諭はいろいろな技能を収めていますよね。
私が、いえ、彼が必要だと考えたものはすべて収めました。
She looks up at the figure of Christ above us, studiously ignoring the voice inside me, which has now risen to a clamor. I press on.
バスキアという姓は父方のものなのですか？
Okay, you know what? Actually, after stream, I will put these two sprites over each other and see what the fuck that looks like, because this is making me mad. I flip this one. So they're both. The hair is the same, but the head isn't. What the hell? It is. The head is the same size. It's just that the eyes are at a different height. Fascinating. The head is the same size still. It's just that her features in general have moved a little. Oh, okay. Oh, what kind of what are we searching for? Yeah, no, I think we've barely hit 90 with the Ashleys. We don't have 100 quotes yet. I think the most recent one is the Ashley one, actually. Should be. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, number 90 is the most recent one. Yeah, that was literally just Saturday. Oh. Ever so slowly, she lowers her gaze back down to mine. Neither her eyes nor her expression reveal anything. There's no anger there. In fact, there's no emotion at all. She's regarding me with a completely blank expression. Despite the hallowed atmosphere, the hair on my arm stands on end as a coldness distinct from the sharp chill of winter rushes through my body. Although it lasts only a few seconds, it feels like we hold one another's gaze for an eternity. Then, without saying another word, Sister Pascal leaves the chapel. Huh? Now that she's gone, I let out a long breath of air as I finally unthaw. A wintry breath goes across my ear. My stepmother whispers to me. I've arrived at the conclusion that some piece of the puzzle of my Yuri's disappearance lies in Sister Pascal's past. Again, my stepmother's voice reverberates through me. Fighting back a tide of nausea, I gaze up at the statue of Christ just as she did. Oh. In the end, I wasn't able to get past what my stepmother did to me. Here at this academy, I found the most wonderful amitiés and made the kind of friends I could bare my soul to. Between spring and summer, I went through more experiences than I can list. But some of those experiences brought with them words that hurt me or moments which stopped me in my tracks, as though I'd found myself suddenly at the top of a precipice. I was able to get through them. That's why I thought I had overcome the spectre of my stepmother too. While I'm doing better than when I first went to live with my grandfather, the fact remains that mental trauma is just like wounds of the flesh. It won't magically heal because of a few kind words or emotional moments. It's like a scab. Feeling someone shaking my shoulder, I look up hazily as though waking from a dream.
白羽会長、
ごめんなさい。少し考え事をしていました。今は何の？
各部から申請のあった備品と予算についてだけど。
To be fair, I think also it being the winter season now is not gonna make it better for her mental state. I do not know a single person who actually feels better mentally during winter. Because I can say from personal experience, as much as I like snow and winter in and of itself, mentally is winter it's never good. The eyes are clearly asking whether I'm okay. I nod.
失礼しました。では、ツアブキショムから報告をお願いします。
Stigerson takes a seat, so Ibuki-san stands up and starts to read out the club names from the sheaf of applications in her hand.
天文部は申請がありませんでした。文芸部は武士の印刷についてですが。
Keeping one eye on Ibuki-san as she speaks seriously, I glance around at the other council members. Since everyone is a fellow first year, they're all familiar faces. The sullen expressions make me think of the movie Hang 'Em High. Not the content of the movie, but the performance in it of my favorite actor Clint Eastwood. Throughout the entire movie, he doesn't smile once. There are moments when he allows himself a wry grimace, but never a true smile. Like when I retreated inside myself and did nothing but watch movies, his performance was a comfort to me. One can cope with being alone, but loneliness within a crowd is another matter. If no one would smile for me, I was better off with nothing. I It felt like he was telling me there was no need to practice smiling in front of the mirror so I could fit in with everyone, and I...
この案件はどういたしましょうか。
Oh god, so... Her words are polite, but there's a suppressed irritation behind her tone. I realize I've had my head in the clouds again.
それは
I'm unable to respond to her pointedly questioning look. I wasn't listening, and I can't think of anything appropriate to say.
その事案には私から答えます。
My MT partner steps in to answer for me and begins to explain the distribution of the budget. Budget. Even as I listen to her with one ear, the line is still running through my head. One can cope with being alone, but loneliness within a crowd is another matter. Who spoke those words?
八代会長ならこんなことは。
Tension suddenly crackles through the air as a chill seeps into my bones. I'm not the only one who heard this particular murmured thought. Yuka-san pauses in her explanation to look over the gathered council members with a frown.
続けます。
Ooh. Giving up on seeking out a culprit, her voice once again echoes through the cool air of Iznik. Worse than the strained atmosphere, worse than my isolation.
八代ゆずりや。
The whisper of her name hooks its claws deep inside me, and I feel a horrible sense of unease.
八代先輩が私へ残してくれた言葉。
The words she gave me surface and then recede again in my mind, one particular phrase remaining. Again, I feel as though every other sound, every other voice has grown distant. How could I have forgotten something so important? In the specimen room, I'm able to pin down that niggling feeling inside of me. It was when I heard the phrase Tulpa of Agape explained to me as a key that would lead me to Mayuri. After giving me this key, Yatsushiro-senpai said to me,
こいつは老婆神からの選別だ。僕が1年前に調べたとある事件から得た情報を一つ教えよう。
Then she told me about the site of the old chapel where Shion Basquiat was laid to rest.
1年前に調べたとある事件。
In other words, she meant...
バスキアへと至る事件。八代先輩が
Ah, we have a new thing to go for.
経験したということだ。
My mind works as I listen to Sister Basquiat explain the difference between dry and wet specimens. And I struggle to suppress the excitement I feel at finally having caught the trail of the elusive beast. Okay, actually though, because there's no way we're finishing this particular chapter tonight, and I keep thinking every time it goes to a black screen, I was like, oh, okay, good, we got a good point to stop, but we don't have a good point to stop. She just moved on to the next thing immediately. I'm gonna call it here. We're stopping right here. Thank you for the hydrate time. Interesting. And the stream hydration, hell yeah. Thank you. And my screen is so bright. Oh my god. Hold on, actually, let me turn this off. There we go. I'm glad we're playing flowers again. Also because this time I'm genuinely for the first time experiencing everything that's happening in here as well. So I'm interested in seeing what the hell is up with Mayuri and everything else that's happening. It sure is. Maybe I should have that thing turned off. I don't know. Because the entire game seems to be very bright all the time. We'll see. You have a suggestion for the quote board? Absolutely. But yeah, have a good night, room. I hope your migraine gets better. Oh my god, that's an old. That's a really old one. You want to put that one in the quote pod? I can try putting that one in, sure. But yeah, that's gonna be it for tonight. It is Thursday today already, even though it doesn't feel like it for me, so I'm gonna be seeing you guys tomorrow, actually. And tomorrow we're gonna start on the second Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game. So it won't be very long. Tomorrow we're doing a completely different kind of sleuthing than we're doing here. Thank you for nice to know. Thank you for coming. I am going to send you guys over to Tip, who is currently playing Metal Gear Solid 3. And I say this every time it's a Metal Gear game. I know nothing about Metal Gear, but I do like Tip a lot, so have fun with Tips. Say hi for me. Here's a great message. Have a good night. You too. You too. Thank you for coming. Even though I know you said that you're not a big fan of flowers, you're still here. I appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see you all soon.
And bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You do your job all the time. Thank you.